Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hotfix and What's Faster. Tonight, we're going to start our little two-part Ecchi versus Etiquette Pokemon series with a race of the two Let's Go games. But before that, I would like to remind everyone that AGDQ 2023 online will be January 8th through 15th. And the second submission period for newly released games, games released after September 1st, is open until tomorrow, actually. So if you have one of those new games that you want to submit, you need to get that in before the release period or the submission period closes tomorrow. Also, if you want to keep up with all things Games Done Quick, you can use !links in chat to get a nice little link that will help you follow all of our social medias. With that, I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to our runners. So, Etiquette, why don't you take it away?
All right. Hello, everyone. My name's Etiquette. Been here before playing Let's Go. And I will be running Let's Go Eevee.
I'm other runner.
And with me
my name is Ecchi. I play this game a lot, both Pikachu and Eevee version. I'm here running Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. I do a lot of other Pokemon speedrun stuff and TCG, and this is my favorite speedrun and speed game. It's the best, and you're all going to see today why.
Yep. All right, so we both have to set our time and get into the game, so I guess why don't we go ahead and do that? I didn't. I don't think so.
All right, so while we do that, we can talk really quickly that we're not running kind of the normal thing that you may have seen before on the GDQ channel when people have run Let's Go here. We're actually running any percent, which has been the category shown in the past, but now any percent means something different and is a new category because basically we learned how they got broken up initially when we learned about this glitch or exploit or oversight, however you want to call it. There's something we're going to do at the end of the run that basically saves several minutes, and we'll talk about it a lot throughout the run. But it's kind of necessitated a whole new category. So now there's any percent and any percent NMS, which stands for no mount skips. What that means is we're going to be using a mount in the game to skip several trainers at the end of the run, and that created this whole new category. So this run is something that we have not shown before on GDQ. This glitch or exploit or whatever has not been shown before. It's really awesome. I put a lot of time into figuring it out the last couple months, and I'm really glad we were at a point now where they're incredibly mega consistent. So we will show that for you all soon. Are you ready now, Etiquette? Okay. We're doing Pikachu versus Eevee as well. You good? Oh, okay. Gotcha. Switch servers, yay.
So while we're doing this, Ecchi, let's talk about who the best Pokemon is and why it is Sandygast.
Sandygast? What?
Yeah.
That's so random.
Listen, I don't know why. I just love that stupid little sandcastle.
There's a saying that every Pokemon is somebody's favorite Pokemon, and today I have found the one person who likes Sandygast. So congratulations.
Thanks.
All right. All right.
Okay.
All right.
So we're just going to go ahead and get into the game, and then we'll actually tell you when to start the timer. We have to go through a little kind of cutscene at the start. So you set our time there very specifically. It's for a couple of different reasons, and we'll bring it up again later in the run too, but it's a combination of it's important for this one NPC thing we do later, and it's also gives us a chance to get a second Moonstone for free. Basically, there's daily respawn items that spawn at midnight, And by picking up the moonstone at a very specific time and being in the room when the clock rolls over, we can get a second moonstone sometimes. So that is why we do that. Here's the best Pokemon, Pikachu.
All right.
Wow, you're not even say Eevee's the best Pokemon?
I'll let the time speak for itself.
All right, are you on Big Game?
Big Game, yeah.
Okay, cool. Would you like to count us down, see average?
Sure, I can count us down. Let's go in 3, 2, 1, go.
All right.
Cool. So, off the bat, 2 different Pokemon, 2 very different routes. In a lot of older Pokemon games, you actually see Ruby and Sapphire, for example, just as one category, one leaderboard. Unless it's called Ruby Sapphire, but everyone only runs Sapphire, and Ruby's like a category extension that very few people run. Same thing for like Red, Blue, Glitchless, and many of the older Pokemon games. It's actually something we only started doing pretty recently for the newer games, and that's because of much bigger route differences between them. So like Sword Shield has split categories, Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee has split categories because they play out really, really differently.
Yeah, and these were actually the first games in the series that we split. And it's very much just exactly what you think. The starters are different, and you don't have a starter choice. So your game choice basically heavily dictates how you're going to play the game. You're going to see the routes are very different. We're going to have a lot of similar strategies on a lot of fights. There are various ways you can go through fights. Lots of X items, as you've seen in other other Pokemon games. Other Let's Go specific strategies we're going to employ. And we're going to be doing a lot of the same things, but like the actual moves we're selecting, and sometimes even the Pokemon we're using are going to be very different.
Yeah, so off the bat, we're doing some options stuff. One of the things this game introduces is the ability to quote-unquote skip movies. And what that means is there are like 5 cutscenes in the game that are like not text at all. They're just a movie basically that plays, and you can press a button to skip them. So we can do that. So that's cool.
Literally 5.
Yeah. I mean, it saves some time, so that's neat. But we can't skip like the other mashing kind of cutscenes. But there's not that many in this game. This game is very straightforward, being specifically a Pokemon Yellow remake mixed with Pokemon Go mechanics. So there's just not a lot of story in the game in the first place. It mixes in a lot of newer gen stuff too. So you're going to see Mega Evolutions. If you missed those at all, they're here. And we will see 1 in the run. Other categories you'll see more, but we'll at least see 1.
All right, so first thing here, we actually have to catch our starter. So starter stats are not really a thing in this game. If you've seen other Pokemon games, you've probably heard people talk about IVs and natures and all that stuff. IVs don't matter. We're guaranteed to have the best possible stats on our starter Pokemon. But our nature is random. And so the nature is going to tell us what stat is a little bit better than normal and what stat's a little bit worse. We are both looking for a starter that does not have essentially bad offensive stats. We both have basically committed to just sort of going with it.
I really hope we both get terrible ones.
Yeah. The nature is determined when you encounter this catch. So it's actually quite a long reset if we were to save before it. It's not just like when we go into the lab and pick up the Pokeball. We can't save before that. It's always going to be the same Eevee or Pikachu.
Yeah, so if you wanted to like save and then like reload the game, you have to do it before the catch, and it's super slow, super long. So we're just going to roll with it. Like the time loss from having a weak starter is going to be worse than doing a whole save and quit thing, unless you have like a backup save, but we're just going to do it and it'll be fine. And the nice thing in the Pikachu version, it's actually much less restrictive on which natures we can take. So for Pikachu, runnable odds are like 72%. Basically, as long as it's not minus attack, we're good to go. And you don't want... Oh, no, sorry. Is it minus special attack? No, minus attack, yeah. And you don't want... for Eevee, for it to be minus attack, minus special attack, or minus speed, which creates a lot more resets at the start, unfortunately.
All right, so I'm going to check mine here. Of course.
What did you get?
I got timid. So timid is minus attack plus speed. The other thing that you can see in there is the characteristic, which basically doesn't mean anything outside of this game. It does mean something, but it doesn't like actually influence the Pokemon at all. But in this game, it influences it quite a bit. But we'll get into that as we start leveling up and see our Go powers.
Yeah, they're called Go powers in this game, even though we all call them Eevees. We'll see that soon. Yeah. So it's actually interesting. There's a lot of things about this game we just didn't know for years. We found out a lot of different things from this game about this game once we got some help from some smart researchers like Anubis, a community member. And with their help, we've learned a lot about this game, specifically things like how the characteristic actually works, how catch rate actually works, which is something we just straight up did not know for years. Like, if you asked me, like, hey, how likely is it to catch a Caterpie in the forest at the start, I would not have been able to give you the answer like 5 months ago. And the fact that we can do that now has led to the run getting a lot more consistent, a lot better. And also led to one of the biggest changes, which is using, how do I describe this? So we use motion controls in the game, if you saw us catch our starters. And we can actually do 2 controller catches later. And having a second controller use a stronger Pokeball actually matters, even though the game lies to you and says it doesn't matter. And that one change has made the run like way more consistent, not just for this category, but for catch-em-all categories. And there's been a lot of small developments like that over the last few months that have really made this game even more fun and faster. We're going to be coming up on a rival fight here. Plays pretty differently between the 2 versions, but ultimately it's match A to win.
Yep.
I'll be spamming Thunderbolts. It's slower for me because Thunderbolt just doesn't hit as hard, and I have a chance to paralyze. And if you inflict status, or you get status inflicted upon you in battle in this game, sometimes you get random lag, and it just wastes several seconds. So Eevee doesn't have to worry about that yet, but has to worry about it a lot more throughout the run than I do.
Yeah. Although, because I have minus attack, this actually could be the same number of turns as the Pikachu fight. One thing that in Pikachu you don't have to worry about is, so I'm facing my rival's Pikachu. My rival's Pikachu always opens, I believe, with Thundershock, but then can switch to Growl at any point, and Growl will lower my attack. Pikachu doesn't have to worry about that. There's not like a Growl equivalent for special attacks, so, or at least not on the rival anyways.
Yep.
But 3-turn fight, that's as good as I can hope for.
Yeah, sometimes if you're Pikachu, if you have like really good special attack or crit or high roll, you can save a turn. Or if you get like absurdly lucky, there was one time I 2-turned it, which will never happen again in my life, and is like as likely as winning the lottery. But Eevee just wins faster on average there. But there's a lot of back and forth in the run where it's like, oh, this fight goes better for Eevee, but then this fight goes better for Pikachu in the next one, and then back and forth. And I'm really excited to just kind of show off just how different the routes become as the run goes on.
All right. So one of the common things that you're going to see us do throughout the entire run is we're going to be catching a ton of Pokemon. And the main reason for that is there are gym requirements. Every gym has a requirement in order to enter it. The famous example from before the game came out was you have to have a grass or a water type Pokemon before Brock. Fun fact, you can't actually catch a water type, so you have to have a grass type. And one of them is to catch 50 Pokemon. So you have to catch 50 Pokemon in order to fight Koga, which is supposed to be the 5th gym leader. You'll notice we're running past a lot of Pokemon that we could catch. There are probably about 65 Pokemon that we could reasonably get on any given run. But there are very specific places we catch those Pokemon. So those Rattatas and Pidgeys, we're not going to catch there. We might catch one later, usually do. It just has to do with optimizing things like, can I level it up in one level to evolve it? Is it going to be good for experience later on? Stuff like that.
Yeah, and you might be saying to yourself, 50 Pokemon, there's like 800, so it's like not that many. That's fine. This is the Kanto deck, so there's only 150 Pokemon-ish in this game.
Yep.
So
literally a third of the decks.
Yeah, we literally need a third of the decks in order to just beat the 5th gym leader. I'm going to do kind of a newer strat that some runners do, where if we also found out recently that the game applies a newbie modifier before you enter Viridian Forest, which just jacks up the catch rate on everything. So I just caught a Weedle here because it's just basically guarantees I don't get any breakouts in the forest now and simplifies things going forward. Although I lose a little bit of experience, but it's usually not the end of the world, especially on Pikachu version where experience isn't the end of the world early on.
Yeah. Eevee has a pretty big wall. So Pikachu is going to be using not Pikachu to beat Brock. But we're actually going to be using Eevee to beat Brock. And in order to do that, we need to hit level 10 before leaving the forest. Because that's when we get double kick as a great move.
Yep.
And so maximizing the amount of experience we can get is really important. The other sort of benefit Eevee does have is we have an extra Pokemon we can catch here in the forest. There is a 5% encounter for Pikachu here, which we can catch, and that counts as an extra Pokemon. But Etchy over there already has a Pikachu, so it would be a completely pointless catch.
Yeah, in general, we don't double catch things because catch time is like at approximately 30 seconds. So if you're catching something you already caught, then you just wasted 30 seconds. Even though you get some experience out of it, it is generally never worth it, or is never worth it with the way the game is set up. Also, for anyone wondering, I didn't check my nature at the start the way Etiquette did. I only found out my nature on the second fight. I am minus special attack. I don't know what my plus is. Minus special attack's not great, but it is not the end of the world. Another runner by the name of Kick and Run Keith routed out minus special attack strats for Pika. And it actually ends up being like pretty okay as long as you don't end up underleveled in the run. You don't really lose time. So as long as the game cooperates, it is okay that I have a negative offensive stat. This Pidgey's like the best thing in the world for Pikachu version because we just one-shot it. Eevee struggles there a lot because it has Sand Attack, and sometimes you just lose runs to that fight for no reason.
I got Sand Attack, but I hit through, and it was a 3-turn fight for me because of my attack.
It was a 3-turn? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, that could have gone a lot worse, so there you go. So on my screen now, I'm going to introduce something called cheating, where I use a second controller to help assist with catches, and also battles later, so I'll explain in a second.
I knew it was going to break out.
Yeah, the one controller bug catch in this forest is so annoying because we don't have that newbie modifier. So if you just hit an excellent, like when the circle is almost closed, there's different modifiers depending on the size of the circle, and you want to generally, if you want the best catch odds, you have to wait till it's really small. If you get an excellent, which is the best modifier, then it's 72% only to get in off of one controller catch. If you use a raspberry, which helps, it's just an item you can throw to increase it. It's only still like 83% or 85 or something. And they still somehow always break out.
All right. So this Caterpie I'm grabbing here is glowing. It's going to say it's huge. Basically, this has a extra experience modifier of either 1.5 times or like maybe 10% of the time, it will have a 4 times multiplier. Getting those like really big or really small catches can be very nice, but at the wrong time, they can actually be pretty bad because you'll notice that we have EXP share. Everything is gaining experience. And if things gain experience that don't need experience, that can be pretty detrimental. But these bugs are pretty good catches, and we're going to basically evolve them because it's 6 free Pokemon really early, and it's great experience.
Okay, so I need to find an Oddish here so I can actually challenge Brock. Did not get one. My Pikachu's really under level right now because I caught that Weedle before entering the forest. So hopefully I cannot get an Oddish for some reason. But yeah, as I was saying earlier with 2 controller stuff, so if you use a second controller, your catch rate just goes up pretty substantially. It adds so much consistency to the run. I think I can talk about what it was like before we allowed 2 controller.
Yeah, before 2 controller, so right now it is very reasonable to get through the entire run and have 0 breakouts.
Yep.
Usually you have like 1 or 2, but you can absolutely get through it with 0. It used to be the case where you'd be like, wow, I only have 5 breakouts getting to like this one specific section of the game. And then leaving that section of the game, you'd be like, wow, I only have 25 breakouts. This is pretty good. It was just awful.
Apparently the Caterpie I caught was also unlured and I just didn't realize, but it's all good now.
All right.
Did we mention lures?
We did not.
Yeah, so lures are just an item that we're going to be using a lot in the run. We're going to be keeping up for a long section later. And all they do really is increase the level of the spawns. So like, let's say in the forest, the bugs are like level 3 to 6 normally. What the lure will do is make sure that everything that spawns is going to be level 7, so the max level +1. And the higher level things are, the more experience you get, and that helps a ton with this route. And not just because you get more experience, but also because the higher level things are, the faster they're going to evolve typically.
Yep. And you actually kind of saw that right here for me. So I had that pretty bad catch on the Weedle, and I didn't find a Pikachu, which meant my experience was going to be a little bit dicey. So I actually neglected to catch a Bellsprout in the forest on purpose. If there was a Bellsprout there, but I elected to get one outside instead because it was guaranteed to be 2 levels higher. So rather than a level 7 Bellsprout, I'm getting a level 9. I'm also going to be evolving Bellsprout, so those extra 2 levels are nice. But it was really more for that extra experience because, like I said, I did need to hit level 10. And I think I'm actually going to do like a 2-controller Brock fight just because my attack is so bad.
That makes sense. I do not blame you at all.
So this will be a little bit awkward. This is not how you standardly do Brock.
I'm going to catch this random Pidgey here. It's usually not ideal, especially if it's not glowing, but my experience is pretty low, and it also has some extra benefits like I can get a level 10 Oddish, which will save me time on the Brock fight, and just fixes my experience because I was level 7 leaving the forest, so don't have to worry about it. There's a lot of like catch decision making you have to do when you do something like this, because like the ideal thing to do with Pidgey is to catch it basically towards the end of the catching section, because you can catch it at like level 38, I believe, something like that, 39.
39, yeah.
Yeah. And if you do that, then you level it once to evolve it to Pidgeotto, and then you level it again, it becomes Pidgeot. So it's basically the same thing as like catching a Caterpie, right? Because it just levels up really fast and becomes 3 Pokemon for your decks. So it's super helpful. But sometimes it's kind of dangerous to bank on that because it's not a super common spawn. And then sometimes it just makes more sense to get experience early on by catching a Pidgey earlier, either here or like Route 6. And if you do that, then you're locked out of Pidgeot. Or what you can do, like what I can do here is, because I caught Pidgey now, super low level, I can just deposit it. And then later on I can catch a high level Pidgeotto and then just evolve that one time to a Pidgeot. Or I can just catch a single Pidgeotto and that's also totally fine. And at least give me 1 extra mon for the decks. There's a lot of micro decisions like that throughout the run.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you haven't figured it out by now, every run of this is different.
Yeah.
This is one of the coolest Pokemon runs just because of that. Like, every single run is so different than all the rest. That didn't kill either.
Oh, man. So here you're going to see me 2-shot Brock, unlike the poor Eevee side. Oddish is broken for this because it is a special attacker and Brock's mons have no special defense. So even though Etiquette has Bellsprout has Vine Whip, which is a physical move, and Onix just resists that super hard. Because I'm level 10, I'll just one-shot the Onix no matter what. If you're level 9, it's a chance to one-shot. This is another problem.
Oh my god.
Pikachu kind of pulls ahead pretty hard.
There's absolutely nothing to this thing. my double kicks do.
Yeah,
absolutely nothing. All right, that good.
As long as you got past it, it's fine. This is a very good Oddish. I've been having a lot of low-speed Oddishes lately, which are always incredibly painful.
Yeah, so wasn't planning to do this as a 2-controller fight, so I wasn't planning to explain it yet. But yes, we are able to, by using the second Joy-Con, turn almost every battle from a 1-on-1 into a 2-on-1 battle. There are some battles that are forced to be double battles, so it's guaranteed to be 2-on-2, and you can't like bring in a third Pokemon.
That'd be so fun.
That would be amazing. Actually, some of the fights, it would be really good.
There's I don't know if you saw it, but I did a practice run the other day, and I did a 2-controller fight, and I sent out Onix. It was like the funniest thing I've ever seen against like Jesse and James.
Because it zooms like way out.
It zooms so far out. So if either of us catch an Onyx, we'll show that.
All right, can I figure out how to do this? All right, I'm gonna mess with my shopping here and buy an extra X attack for the super nerd fight.
I screwed up my shopping. I'm glad you said the word shopping because I would have messed up. I need to sell 2 of these. It's just a bunch of these now. I should have sold raspberries. That would have made more sense. So I need to do this.
Yeah. All right. I need to remember to buy paralyzed heals later.
Yeah, so part of minus special attack strats is we have to do different shopping here. I completely forgot because I have not done a minus special attack shopping in forever. But it basically just means we rely a lot more on X attacks. Speaking of X items, we use X items a lot on this run.
Oh yeah.
They're very good. They're very, very powerful in this game for a couple reasons. One is that for those who don't know what X items are, they basically just buff your stats 2 stages. So effectively, you can just think of it as like using 1 X attack doubles your attack stat. And they're really cheap because they're just Gen 1 prices. So you can load up on them pretty easily. And it makes a lot of things in this game very bearable because some parts of it are very brutal, in particular, if you don't have these X items. And if you're wondering too, like, because you saw the 2 controller from Etiquette, why we just don't do that in like every fight, because that seems really broken. It's because it's slow a lot of the time. And this being a speedrun kind of helps balance that out because we can't just kind of like brute force our way through every single fight with that. We can't just kind of like mash A with 2 controllers to win. We actually have to plan things out pretty aggressively to minimize the amount of times we need to do that.
Yeah, because so if you look purely at the battle, 1 2-controller turn is about the same amount of time as 2 1-controller turns. But there's the extra overhead of having to call in the second player and have the second player leave at the end of the battle. So generally you only want to do 2-controller if it actually saves like a turn.
Or it cuts out a menu or something. Like say if you match the same amount of turns as 1 controller, but you can like skip buying an item, or you just enter the bag less, or you don't have to heal after the battle. Like that kind of stuff is things you can consider if you want to do it or not. And that's what we did for, is that? I don't remember Eevee. That's what you do now in Eevee to skip buying X speeds early, right? It's been a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I've not touched Eevee routing in like forever.
The Rival 4 fight, yeah.
Right.
All right.
So I'm now playing Pokemon Let's Go Oddish, by the way. I'm just using Oddish for this fight and the next fight because it just ends up being better than Pikachu. Because it's a Bellsprout and a Sandshrew. Sandshrew is something that Pikachu cannot deal with super easily unless you're really high level. So I'm going to go ahead and fight that Sandshrew trainer now, and then I'm going to do some funky stuff to go back down this ladder.
Yeah, so we kind of had like a mini version of this in Viridian Forest, but this is the real big first section where it's like coming out of here with the right amount of experience is crucial to your run. You really want to
makes
have
or breaks so many runs, and it's like the difference between a good Mount Moon and a great Mount Moon is still like massive.
Yeah, you basically need to come out of here at level 15 if you want to have a good run.
Yeah.
The next gym requirement is to have a level 15 Pokemon, and it's just faster to do the gym before other stuff. So I got Clefairy first encounter here, which is phenomenal. Clefairy is the best thing for experience here. So
did we mention buying the Magikarp?
We did not mention it, no.
We
I actually remembered to do it.
Because it was $500. And it's way faster than actually catching Magikarp later. Even though we can catch one and evolve it to Gyarados, it's still just so fast that it's worth it.
Yeah, and I think the Magikarp is the fastest Pokemon we get in the run.
Yeah.
Followed by some other Pokemon that you wouldn't expect to be fast, like Lapras. Like you'd think that having to take the elevator to Lapras wastes time, but no, it's still faster.
All right, so down here we're looking for a Geodude, Paris, Clefairy, typically. Okay, at least we got some of them. We both want a Chansey, right? So
Yeah, I could really use one.
yeah, I guess we both kind of could use them.
Yeah. Also, another thing that's worth mentioning, because I did it and I just watched on the stream, Etchy did it. We both picked up a Moonstone. That Moonstone has a chance of respawning at midnight. And so we started our runs at about 11:34, probably about 11:35 once we got into the game, which means at the 25-minute mark on the timer, the Moonstone can respawn. It's not guaranteed. We don't know the exact odds. It seems about 50-50.
Yeah.
And if it does, it just gives us an extra free Pokemon in terms of, obviously, it still takes time to evolve something, but there's no RNG to it. It's just use the Moonstone on it and you guarantee the catch versus something like, I don't know, some one stage that you have to find and actually catch. So,
Yeah.
not the end of the world if we don't get it, but it's very nice if we do.
I really hope I see an Onyx here in particular.
All right, my Moonstone did not respawn.
I have not checked mine yet, but I will. But I just got all my bugs finished, so I can do a pretty big deposit here soon. One of the hard things with this game is party management, and is again one of those things that is like a pretty defining factor for like top quality runs is knowing when to deposit things, when to keep things. Because if you didn't notice already, level ups in this game happen individually and each take a couple seconds. So it's really bad to like keep your level 5 Magikarp, level it up 15 times so it becomes a Gyarados, even though that adds an extra thing to your Pokedex. Those 15 level ups are pretty massive time loss. And keeping these in your party unnecessarily for too long just loses you time because they're going to gain extra levels that they don't need anymore. So it's a constant kind of balance, and it's never like it's very rare that there's a lot, especially in this section of the run, where it's like objectively correct to deposit this right now or objectively correct to do XYZ, because a lot of it's kind of like risk reward. Like, okay, I could deposit now, but if I end up seeing this rare Pokemon later, then it's going to punish me for depositing now because it would have been more optimal to do it later. And it's just kind of up to the runner and how they feel about the run to decide those sorts of things.
All right.
And I got double Moonstone. And I'm also underleveled, so hopefully I see a Clefairy soon.
All right, I did that kind of weird. There were Geodudes where I could have caught. I was hoping for a glowing Geodude. I didn't find one, so I reloaded the room and got a Paris. So I should be fine on experience. The threshold is about 14. You want to be at about 14 and a quarter leaving this room, and I'm about 14 and a eighth. So I will likely need to catch something else.
Zubat time.
I'm not catching Zubat. I hate catching Zubat.
Zubat's great.
I hate
Just
it.
Controller it and it's free.
I'm also going to deposit stuff.
My wife is
Very likes to jump around. It sucks.
pretty new to Pokemon. Just started with like Brilliant Diamond, and she loves Zubat. And I'm just like, yep, you're new to Pokemon.
Yep.
Oh, they're so annoying in this game too. They kept up the annoyance from like Red, Blue, Yellow era. They like to just spawn on top of you. They're really annoying with their movement patterns. It's a good time. So yeah, I hit that. You can look at my experience. I'm like a good level 14 right now to hit 15 in time. I want to hit 15 earlier, but it's okay.
Yeah, the main problem with you saw it with like at least the Clefairy on my screen. Every Pokemon kind of has a little bit of a different behavior in battle. So Zubat is sort of erratic. It'll sway side to side. It'll kind of flap around. Geodude likes to attack, so you always wait for the attack before you throw. Clefairy can jump side to side, and so sometimes Pokemon are just easier to catch just because they're more docile than others. And sometimes like the littlest movements will make a Pokemon not worth catching or not fun to catch. Venonat comes to mind for that.
So there was actually a good example of the decision making I was talking about. So I had a full party. I could have chose to deposit and then kind of react accordingly. If I caught a Clefairy, I got put to sleep. That's really cool. And I ended up keeping my party because even though I'd gain a bunch of levels, I gained like 4 total. Clefairy went straight to the box, so that's one less thing to deposit. And then I don't have to do a second menu later to deposit things, assuming I don't catch anything else for the rest of Mount Moon. And it means I just save time on those menus, even though I'm losing time in the level ups.
Come on. All right, I one-shot that Drowsy at level 14, which with minus attack is a feat in itself.
Yeah, Pikachu needs level 15 and some stats, or just like higher level to even try to one-shot that. And the main reason for Eevee just being a lot better than Pikachu in this early game part, and why we have to rely on Oddish, is because Eevee is normal type, which means Headbutt just is way stronger because there's also a normal type move. And even though we teach Headbutt to Pikachu, it's not as strong because we're not normal type.
Yep. I guess now is probably a good time to talk about AVs. So, we mentioned earlier about the characteristic being kind of weird in this game. So, every time you level up, you gain an AV, and an AV you can kind of think of as just like an extra stat point that the game assigns to a random stat. So, at level 6, for example, I gained an AV in HP. And that just means that my HP is 1 higher than it should be at level 6. And so that'll obviously compound on itself. And so every time I gain a new AV, it makes my stats a little bit better. We learned recently, again through Anubis, that the AVs that you gain, the way that they are determined is pretty interesting. So the first major thing that kind of blew all of our minds is there's a 10 level cycle. So the AV you gain at level 6 is the same as the AV you gain at 16 and then at 26. So it makes it a lot easier to predict what your stats are going to be later in the run. The other thing we learned is basically how likely it is for each stat to gain an AV.
Oh my
so
gosh, please.
Are you having a time?
I am going to die to this Magnemite. Okay.
Die?
I double hit Selfing Infusion. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. So basically when an AV is being determined, it generates a number between 0 and 7. So there's 8 different digits, or 8 different numbers it can be. 0 through 5 would correspond to each stat. So like 0 would be HP, 1 would be attack, 2 is defense. So if it's any of those, it goes to that particular stat, unless it is the stat that is your minus nature. So like I'm minus attack. So if I'm supposed to get an attack AV, it will instead go to speed, because speed is my plus AV, which is really annoying for this particular EV. But that's just sort of something you have to deal with. And then the other thing is that the remaining 2 digits, so if it's either a 6 or a 7, it'll go to the stat that matches your characteristic. So my characteristic is Mischievous. Mischievous corresponds to special attack. So basically those 2 random numbers would give me a special attack AV instead. So again, it's not one of those things that's really going to like, oh, I'm going to reset because I have a bad characteristic, but it allows you to predict how good your Eevee or Pikachu is going to be later on in the run. I hit level 15. I actually don't believe that. I have 28 attack. Oh my god, it's so low.
Hey, I have 29 special attack. Wow.
Last minute Clefable, come on.
There you go. Clefable, Chansey, Onyx. Reveal yourselves.
All right. All right, I'm going to grab this PP up. Normally when I'm doing runs, I actually don't, but then it involves me selling revives instead. And for this, I want to keep my revives.
Yeah, for my specific shopping route for this category, which I mentioned at the very, very start, I always pick this up. It just cleans up the money route because I'm going to be keeping the Helix fossil.
Yes.
Doesn't matter which fossil you grab there at the start. Oh my gosh, what is this? There's 2 Mankeys and a Sandshrew.
Oh, wow.
Okay, I'll take it.
All right. So here you're going to see pretty big difference between the way Eevee plays and the way Pikachu plays. So I am teaching 3 moves to my Eevee. Eevee is going to get Bouncy Bubble, which is a very strong water move, Buzzy Buzz, which is a very strong electric move, and Sizzly Slide, which is a very strong fire move. So I'm going to have great coverage. Pikachu is going to learn 1 move because it only has access to 1 move.
And it's all going to work out just okay. And
it's actually going to save quite a bit of time because it doesn't have to sit there and talk to the guy 2 extra times. So it's this weird back and forth you're going to see where it's like Eevee is going to have an easier time on a lot of these fights. Well, a normal Eevee. My Eevee has bad attacks, so it might struggle a little. But, normal Eevee is going to have a lot easier of a time here, but we'd still lose time over Pikachu because Pikachu only learns 1 move.
And it also turns out that having an electric type for the water gym is pretty good. So
yes,
we're going to save some time there as well. And to explain, so Buzzy Buzz is our signature move. What it does, it sounds really broken when I explain it, and the Eevee moves are going to sound even more broken when Etiquette explains
Zippy
this.
Zap. You're talking about Zippy Zap.
Oh, sorry, Zippy Zap. Buzzy Buzz is the Eevee one. So Zippy Zap is an electric move that is only 50 power, so it doesn't seem that strong. But it is guaranteed to always crit, which in this gen is 1.5 times damage. And it is a priority move, so it basically means it's a quick attack, but electric type, and always crits. So pretty powerful, and we're going to be relying on it a lot during the run.
Yep. Meanwhile, the 3 moves Eevee got, so Buzzy Buzz I'm going to be primarily using here because Water Gym, electric is good, is 90 base power, so way more powerful than Zippy Zap is. And Buzzy Buzz will always paralyze. It's a special move. It will always paralyze. So we're actually going to use that to our advantage here. We're going to not one-shot the Starmie, but it won't matter because it'll be paralyzed and we'll outspeed it turn 2. Sizzly Slide is a 90 base power physical fire move that always burns, and we will use that for damage reduction at some points in the run. And Bouncy Bubble is a 90 base power special water move that will heal the Eevee. So Eevee will replenish half of the HP that it dealt in its own health. So I'm actually like half health here. I'm going to be leaving Cerulean at full health. Just because I'll be using Bouncy Bubble instead of menuing.
Yeah, and that healing is quite a bit of a nice thing for Eevee version. For me, it basically like I have to do some funny business just to get the health I need in an optimal way. I don't just get the free health in battle, so you'll see some of that later. And sometimes I just kind of have to hard menu and just potion just to get by. Here's Misty. My fight's going to be very simple. I'm going to use an X attack, and then I'll use Zippy Zap twice. I'll just one-shot the Starmie because my attack's good enough here. Fortunately, I have just enough attack AVs.
Oh, nice.
To get by here. And I gained the level from those 2 extra catches, which was really, really clutch. This is another kind of decision-making thing. So I caught the Mankey and the Sandshrew there. One of them was level 7 when I caught it. The other one's level 11. If they were both really high level, it'd be very easy to justify keeping them here. I decided to keep them for now. It's what I probably should have done was deposit them and then not catch Venonat. But by keeping them in my party, I can justify catching Venonat easier because then I can just kind of do it all in one. I can deposit them all at once. Whereas if I catch Venonat, then it's basically an extra entering of the box. But they're fairly high level. I think it's okay to just keep them. They're only going to gain like 2 more levels in this section.
All right. I'm not going to one-shot this Pikachu. And the rival does have AI where he'll potion if he's really low health. So I just took the 2-shot there. I probably shouldn't have used Bouncy Bubble, but I wasn't sure what he was going to do back to me. So I thought of it like very last second before I got into the fight. So I didn't have time to think.
The annoying thing for Eevee on this, or Pikachu on this fight, is the Oddish. We don't have a fire move to just one-shot it. I have to hit it twice with Headbutt. Hopefully you just flinch it, but it can poison you. It's really annoying. Hopefully our buddy here, this is our rival, by the way, for the entire game. Hopefully he cooperates. We're going to fight him more later. He's not too dangerous until the very end, pretty much.
Yeah, it's actually going to be... No, I should be fine. Actually, I have extra money because of doing PP up versus selling revives, so I should actually be able to buy more X attacks.
Flinch. Okay. The other thing to mention now too, so this is Nugget Bridge. This is just aka the exposition time for us, where we can just explain things endlessly because there's nothing really going on in this section. But basically, if you haven't noticed, like, there's a pretty big gap between us both right now in terms of like which fight we are on, and that could change a lot during the run. Etiquette could be like 4 fights ahead of me at one point, and it could still be like a very even race.
Or he could actually be ahead of me, even though I'm 4 fights ahead.
Yeah. And it goes back to the catching stuff that we talked earlier about. So again, we need to catch 50 Pokemon for Koga, or have 50 Pokemon in our Pokedex for Koga. And each of those Pokemon takes time to some degree in order to actually register on our Dex. So what is your count right now?
I am at 13.
Yeah, I am at 15. So that means that if we're like, I hate doing this, but like about a minute apart, that means we're pretty close to each other in terms of time. So we'll try to keep you all updated on our Pokemon counts throughout the run. We both use a tracker to keep track of things. We just kind of click off Pokemon as we catch them. Etiquette actually made it, so thank you, Etiquette.
Yep. Yeah, there's been a long-standing tool in the Pokemon community for tracking Pokemon. We used to use it way back in like the Gen 1 glitch days and stuff like that. Created by a person by the name of Bob Chow 87. And it's still used quite a bit to this day. The main motivation for creating a new tracker that I did was to have multiple counts. So I think you have it set up similarly, Etchy, but I have basically two numbers I'm keeping track of. I'm keeping track of how many have I caught, but also how many am I planning to get. Sometimes the amount you actually have doesn't matter so much at any given point in the game, but knowing that you are like set up to have the 50 at the end is really important.
Yeah. And planning things out throughout the run and adjusting your plan as things happen. Yeah. There I do a cute little trick where, because I can't just bouncy bubble to free heal, I do a 2-controller fight there, where I let Oddish just one-shot the Sandshrew for me, and I take that free Pikachu action to heal it. Ends up being the same amount of turns, but it cuts out the menu, so it justifies the summoning of the trainer. And it also makes the fight completely safe, because that thing can sand attack you and poison you, and it's really bad.
All right, so this coughing is a not so excellent range. Hopefully we get it. Not quite. That's fine. If you miss the range into getting tackled like that, it's perfectly fine. The main reason you want to hit that range is because this coughing also has smog, and smog can poison you. So that would require menuing out of battle or dealing with like status lag and the like.
Smog is 40% the poison. It's super annoying. Usually if I get poison, I just deal with it and then try to heal it during the next natural menu. But sometimes you get trolled, and it's kind of a risky thing to go for.
All right.
I also will not be one-shotting coughing, so hopefully it's nice to me.
All right. So even though I plan on catching a Psyduck, I didn't want to catch that particular one, just because if I catch a Psyduck later, I can evolve it directly into Golduck. That's another one of those, decisions you make to, just maximize the number of Pokemon you can get. Evolutions take right about the same amount of time as catches, so if you can ever evolve into something, it's usually good. The one exception is sometimes I'll catch a Psyduck on the next route if I need it for experience. Usually that's not going to be the case. This particular run, I'm not going to get there because I'm kind of low on experience, but if I hit level 20 before Arrival, that would be so nice. Otherwise, I'm going to hope that Pikachu comes out last so I can use an extra X attack.
Yeah, me being minus special attack isn't going to matter for basically until Tower, fortunately. It matters mostly in this early game section, so I'm okay for now, fortunately. Okay, so if I see a Venonat, I'll catch it. Again, same thing. I'm not going to catch the side up there. Doing a little movement trick here. Thanks to our friend Nox.
I don't do knock skip.
Also, that trainer vision's much more shallow than you probably think it is, so I did that movement as well. That's another thing that we kind of realized somewhat recently is you don't have to go all the way up and down to dodge those trainers. You just have, their vision's actually surprisingly short. So just little time saves like that have come up fairly recently. Another thing too to kind of keep in mind or to mention is that like both me and Etiquette are you're keeping the Bellsprout, right? I think you said that earlier. Yeah. So we're both keeping our grass Pokemon from Route 2, and you might be saying like earlier, Etchy, you actually said you should not keep things and let them gain a ton of levels just to get an extra Dex entry. Why are you lying to us? And for Pikachu version, it's a little bit more like, well, you end up keeping the Oddish for a while longer anyway, so it kind of makes sense to just keep it at a certain point. And some of it just gets a lot of levels early on, and it also is valuable to keep it for this section because you can use it for that Sandshrew fight. And then for both versions, the biggest reason to keep it is it's really just a huge consistency play in a run filled with so much inconsistency, because it's like barely about the fact that you get an extra Mon, and more so about the fact that you never have to one controller catch anything in the run if you do that. Which some one controller catches aren't that bad, and you'd only have to do like 3 if you don't do this. But you get an extra Mon out of it. You get that extra consistency for all the catches. You can do a cute little Sandshrew strat if you're running Pika version. It just makes a lot of sense. I think in this specific category, in any percent, it's definitely justifiable to cut that extra Mon and just go for it, because any percent is a very weird category now where it is extremely consistent in late game. So it's more okay to be like a little bit more YOLO-y, and also we have a lot more catch route flexibility because we are essentially getting 3 free Pokemon later that you don't get in the other category of the game, which is no mount skips.
Got a Route 5 Abra.
Ooh. You caught it, or you just saw one?
No, I just saw it. It was facing up, so I couldn't have even...
Tragic.
Yeah,
Abra is like one of the best early mons to get, especially for Pikachu version, because it evolves instantly and is like a bonus Pokemon. We don't normally account for it because it's kind of rare, but it is really cool to get it, and it's a very powerful Pokemon to use as well. One of the biggest differences you're going to see coming up soon for both of us is that I will be relying a lot more on not Pikachu. Even though I am running Let's Go Pikachu. Pikachu is very good, don't get me wrong, but he is but a singular electric mouse, and there are a lot of scary other types coming up soon. And Eevee has all that different funny coverage as the fire, water, electric move, and also gets a psychic move later, which is super busted. And I'm just going to have the electric move basically the entire time. So in order to get around that, Pikachu version kind of digs deep in the toolkit to use a lot of different Mons temporarily as mains or like doubles partners. So in this next section, I'm going to be using a Growlithe or an Abra as like my doubles partner, just to kind of clean up some of these fights that Pikachu can't really handle on its own. For example, there's a Gloom coming up pretty soon, and Pikachu just can't kill a Gloom easily, like at all. Whereas Growlithe can usually deal with it okay, or Kadabra can just destroy it. And later on, I'll actually be doing kind of like a semi-main switch to Nidoking, bring it back like Gen 1 speedrun style, and kind of go back and forth with mains. And I even do a double battle with Rhyhorn and a Nido king or queen, basically, and just kind of forget that Pikachu exists.
Yeah, and it's actually kind of funny because you can do a lot of the same strats in Eevee. However, Eevee actually isn't good enough to like really benefit from some of the other strats. Like, it's really weird to say like, oh, Eevee does things on its own because it's not good enough to use help. But like the Rival 4 fight's a great example of one where the way Pika gets help is it's able to one-shot something without setup, so that way your partner can set itself up, but Eevee can't do that. And so like the Eevee fight for Rival 4 is very different. Even though it's about the same amount of time, there's a bit more risk to it, and yeah, it's, you know, it's just a little bit different. And so Eevee just doesn't gain as much benefit as Pikachu does.
Yeah, and Eevee can handle things pretty well on its own anyway, so it ends up being okay. Eevee is a very weird Pokemon in general, like weird stats and just having all that coverage kind of means a lot of weird quirks to it. I'm gonna finally deposit this poor Mankey and Sandshrew. They only gained a couple levels, so it's not too bad. Gonna keep the Oddish for now. I'm also going to use another lure. Like I said, just kind of maxes out the level here. And I really need a Growlithe. So one of the things I'm going to do is actually grab this rare candy up here, even though it is far and out of the way. It is another one of those consistency plays because I need to grab a rare candy at some point. So I might as well grab it now to give time for more Growlithe to spawn, or to give more time for any Growlithe to spawn. I'm going to kind of go wide just to give me the highest chances. Not getting a Growlithe here is not the end of the world, but it makes things much easier. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and kind of it's not super important, but an interesting catch on my side that just happened was I caught a Vulpix. And Vulpix is a really, really good Pokemon to have. You never use it in battle or anything, but it gives you flexibility in the end game where Vulpix can evolve into a Ninetales using a Firestone. And the Firestone is something you don't have to pick up, but you can. It's not very far out of the way. And it's a little bit of overhead of having to like withdraw and evolve and then deposit. But it basically allows me to go into the end game with either an even or odd number of Pokemon planned, because I can always just flex out Ninetales. It's a lot harder, or it's not harder, but like it's a little bit more awkward if you have to like cut out a full evolution of something and deposit it early and that kind of stuff. It just gives you a little bit more freedom.
Yeah, on the Pika side, you're always going to see the big pupper. I always get Arcanine, so I always grab that Firestone. It's another kind of recent reroute thing that we do because we purposely sacrifice Growlithe later, so it makes sense to just grab the Firestone and use it that way, because then we can use Arcanine as our ride Pokemon. It's the scariest trainer skip in the game. And I have to focus on the shopping really quickly and make sure I don't mess it up.
Yeah, I just got to shopping too.
I will not sell the fossil. I will not sell the fossil. You sell the fossil in the other version. I need to sell you. Gonna sell all of our Pokeballs here, which sounds wild, but it is the smart thing. I'm gonna sell some raspberries just because the shopping earlier was funky too. Specifically buying not too many Great Balls, even though we can't afford more because it adds more Premier Balls to your inventory.
Oh, wow, that's way too many. Whatever. I underestimated how much extra money I got.
All right.
This will be fine.
I had to do kind of different shopping there as well because, again, mine is special attack Pikachu, but again, very, very minor strat changes I have to do for that. And basically just means I need an extra X item at some point. The X item shopping for both versions is kind of funky because you typically are buying more X items than you'll actually ever need, but there's so many flex situations that can pop up that you want to like have that flexibility. And sometimes it makes sense to like use an X attack over an X special attack in certain situations, especially on Pikachu's side. And just having the freedom to go back and forth is really nice.
Yeah, I pretty much am. There are a couple of fights on Eevee specifically in Rock Tunnel that you can do either one way or another way depending on the health you have. And it's also like do this via physical stat or via special stat. And so I'm probably going to be doing almost all of the special versions, using Bouncy Bubble on a lot of things, just because my attack is pretty bad. And there's a couple of fights that you either like two-shot or barely one-shot, and it's just going to be fine to do the safer version. So I have like way more X specials than I need. Wait. All right.
I caught a Jigglypuff earlier, and one note on Jigglypuff is it's really good to see on Pika version when you get the double Moonstone. I mentioned earlier, but normally you get one Moonstone and you always have to use it on Nidoking or Nidoqueen. So if you get the second Moonstone, the best thing to use it on is Jigglypuff because it's the only Moonstone evolution that does not try to learn a move on level up or on evolution. Mm-hmm. So you basically are saving a few seconds if you use that extra Moonstone on a Jigglypuff. So it's really nice to secure it this early because you can get it later, but it's typically at that point it's too late. You kind of have to commit to moonstunning something else because it's not really worth holding out for that slim chance of you getting it later.
Oh, I forgot to get the paralyzed heals that I was supposed to grab. That's why, my God. So we do our shopping and pick up specific items in a very specific way to make sure our X items in battle are in very good to reach spots. Because you'll notice that the menu always resets. Like the cursor always resets back to normal. And so after the Vermilion shopping, you basically want one of your X items, meaning either X attack or X special attack. You want one of them to be accessible by hitting left, and you want one of them to be accessible by hitting up. And so the amount of items you pick up matters because, there's 4 items across. And so, just if you pick up an extra item, everything's going to be shifted over.
Yep.
Because I have one less item than I'm supposed to, my X items are in the wrong spot. So I'm actually going to, I guess, just quickly dip back into the mart and grab a couple of paralyzed heals. I don't know where to pick one up. I could YOLO the random. Yeah, I could YOLO the random healing item that spawns in the underground, but I don't think that'll work.
Yeah, either that or you could pick up the ether to the left of the rival kissing cutscene. That's the only other battle item I could think of, but then you don't have the paralyzed heals that you want.
Yeah, for Jesse and James.
Yeah, we'll talk about that when I get there, yeah.
Yeah, I'll just grab, I'll just go into the mart again. It's not a big deal.
All right, so that's SSN. If you noticed, we learned something there. We learned something called a secret technique called chop down. And that is, if you're familiar with playing any Pokemon game, that is basically HM cut. There are no HMs in this game. They are all replaced with secret techniques, which is awesome because now we don't actually have to waste a move slot on a Pokemon to learn them. Our Pikachu just does it now by interacting with a bush or something. So that has another added side effect where, if you notice, we fought Misty. I'm not fighting Surge, and I'm not going to fight another gym leader for the next hour and a half. Or hour-ish? Hour-ish, yeah.
About an hour, yeah.
Yeah, and that is because if there's no HMs, they're not locked behind badges like they typically are in Pokemon games. So I can just use, as soon as you learn a secret technique, you can use it as much as you want. So as soon as you get strength, if you have no badges, you can still just use it. As soon as I have chop down, I can start using it without getting Surge's badge, for example. And that means that the gym leader order in this game is really funky.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, so we do the first 2 gym leaders because they're required to actually progress. And then basically the strategy is progress the plot as much as possible and rush your way as fast as possible to our actual final main Pokemon of the speedrun, which lets us skip 10 levels, 15 levels, and kind of rearrange the gym leaders such that Koga is last. Since he does have that 50 Pokemon requirement, we want to put that off for as long as possible to give us as much time to actually meet that requirement. What is the gym leader order? It's going to be 1, 2, 7, 3, 4, 6, 5. Yeah.
And then 8.
And then 8. The final gym leader is always the last one. You can't try to do it earlier. So once again, I'm going to be using Growlithe a lot in this section. Good buddy here is going to hopefully just one-shot the Gloom coming up. It is not guaranteed unless I have really high special attack because I'm not level 18 yet. Unfortunately, I didn't get enough. I thought the Jigglypuff would give me enough, but I guess it was a little short.
All right. Yeah, so I'm just evolving my Jigglypuff. This is, your typical thing in Pokemon of combine as many menus together as possible. So I need to use a lure here. I'm also going to deposit everything.
Yeah, and I'm going to do that exact same menu, but I can do it a little bit later in Pika version. It just kind of works out that way. There's a little bit of risk to it where, because I'm luring really technically closer to the grass, sometimes Pokemon spawn early before the lure shows up, but it basically never happens. And now that I've said that, it's definitely going to happen.
All right.
This Sandshrew coming up is a nightmare, especially for Eevee. If you're under leveled, but
Yeah.
it should be okay because like one shot the gloom.
All right. So here I used a guard spec. Guard spec is an item we actually early routes of this game used to buy 4 of them in each game.
Really?
Both. Yeah.
Oh my god.
In both Pikachu and Eevee, you would buy 4. And now across both games, you buy 1. And even then, it's like a flex item that you don't have to buy, depending on your stats. A guard spec basically prevents you from getting any of your stats lowered. That Eevee has Sand Attack, Growl, and Tail Whip. Tail Whip doesn't matter, but Growl lowering your attack and Sand Attack lowering your accuracy are both pretty bad. And since we don't one-shot it, because we don't have double kick anymore, you kind of have to do that. If you have good enough attack and you hit level 20, you can one-shot, and you can avoid that, but just usually doesn't work out that way. All right.
So now I'm going to evolve my Jigglypuff. Really nice I was able to evolve before level 18, because if it levels up to 18 first, it tries to learn a move, so another kind of thing to keep in mind when you're planning things out. And again, it's not going to learn a move on evolution, so that's nice. And then we're both entering Route 10, which is another huge make or break point in the run, followed by Rock Tunnel, which is another huge make or break point in the run.
Yeah, this is... If you think about doing a Let's Go run, this is sort of the section that you kind of dread coming up. But it's honestly some of the most fun just because there's so many different things that can happen and there's so many things you have to adjust to. It's, coming out of this, you can really tell like, all right, this is what my catch route is going to be. You have almost no more questions. And yeah, you can have like a bad run come in here and all of a sudden you have a great run. Or vice versa. So
yeah, mostly vice versa. I got Krabby really fast. You usually don't get Krabby; it's a little bit more rare. But there's a lot of Pokemon we can catch here.
I got all second stages on my first. All right, cool.
So let's list out all the Pokemon. There's Nidoran female, Nidoran male, Spearow, Rattata, Krabby are all the ones you would like to catch.
Yep.
Rattata is not super necessary. You can always get it later. There's a lot of other opportunities to get it. We usually don't plan for Krabby because it's one of the rarer ones. Spearow, Nidoran female, Nidoran male are all very important because you can't get them later. Mm-hmm. So you want to see them here. If there's any 3 to prioritize, it's those 3. And Pikachu version needs at least one of the Nidorans. Male saves a little bit more turns, but the female one's totally fine. Nidoqueen can make up some time in other parts that Nidoking cannot. So there's a Nidoran female, so I at least have that going for me.
Yeah, and you might wonder why I sort of abandoned that without waiting for more Pokemon to spawn. Every route has a certain number of Pokemon that can spawn. This route only has 4 things that can appear at a time. And so I knew that with the Raticate, Fearow, and Nidorina, that nothing else was going to spawn. And sometimes some routes will buy repels, so that way you can repel and then re-lure to reset the Pokemon. But with this shopping, I didn't end up doing that. I probably could have with the extra money I had, but I didn't think of it in time. So
yeah, and it works out. You can just despawn anyway by entering that cutscene and doing that fight early. Please let me through. Thank you.
Also, because I'm so fast, I was able to just headbutt both Raticates, and I got 4 flinches. All right, so I got Spearow and Krabby. Interesting.
That's just like me. Wow. So now we're going to be double Great Balling things. One of the reasons why we sell all the Pokeballs is because it prevents us from having to manually menu the Great Balls. It just lets you... Your second controller knows to switch to whatever ball is available. It switched to the lowest one available, typically. Nidorino, I guess I'll take you. And just cut out Nidoran male. Another benefit is it moves raspberries up 1 slot, so if you wanted to use them, it's 1 less input.
Yeah, and it usually moves them to the first slot, which is just a mash A kind of slot.
Why am I so off with those side throws? That was weird. All right. The joy of motion controls is that they don't work sometimes. At least it went in, that's fine. Especially side throws tend to be kind of funky and can just kind of go in completely random directions and are never fun when that happens, but ideally, the catch mechanic, the motion controls are like, I would say like I don't know, 95% reliable with enough practice.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
Yeah, enough practice and enough awareness of how they work. Little things like where your Switch is in relative location to you. Also, where is your Wi-Fi router, as the 4th Gen gamer has learned. If your Wi-Fi router is too close, it might mess with the signal. So
yeah, that's the other thing we didn't talk about is you have to use Joy-Cons with this game. I guess you could use the Pokeball Plus, but don't do that.
No, it's awful.
And if you are using Joy-Cons, they are required to be Bluetooth, and that means that sometimes funkiness can happen there. Bluetooth and motion control is always a good time, and controllers that can sometimes drift and whatnot. So yeah,
yeah. If you saw me randomly walking when I got off the SSN, that was not because I wanted to.
I think you still use the grip, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is how we are typically playing. I'll show it on webcam what this looks like. And then we kind of slide the second controller in and out here. And that is how we kind of switch between 1 controller and 2 controller antics.
Also, sometimes what just happened to me will happen, where you'll do your normal throw and one of the balls will come out and not the other one.
That is more likely than it should be.
Yeah.
So on that route, I actually had a pretty good one. I got a lot of Mons. I wanted Nidoran male. Fortunately, didn't get it. I got Nidorino, so I could technically do mostly the same Nidoking strat. It's a little different catching a Nidorino versus a Nidoran male because it comes with different moves. So I actually don't have Poison Jab on it, which is the move you usually want to spam with Nidoking. But I can replace it with Thrash, which is equivalent in damage, just kind of quirky because Thrash is a lock-in move, so you're forced to use it for a couple turns. I'm just going to go for Nidoqueen and just not have to worry about that. And I'm going to get these Great Balls too. It's faster to walk around here if you don't need the Great Balls, but if you do need them, you should cut the bush.
Yeah. I caught everything on that route except for Nidoran female, so I'm in a good position. For catch count.
Yeah, what's your count?
So I'm at 21.
Okay. I'm at 22.
Okay. Yeah, I'm at 21 caught, and I've got 50 planned without Tentacool and Coughing. So
I'm at 57 planned, but that's because I like to get the plan out super high until like I actually get closer to endgame, and then I start cutting things out because I just like having everything highlighted already, like all my options highlighted.
Yeah.
So it'll eventually go down lower. I promise.
All right, so Rock Tunnel has a ton of things we want to catch. Here is Zubat. I'm going to do a more consistent thing, but it's kind of cringe where I then nab it, and only one ball through again. Awesome. So Nanab berries, you almost never see people use. I tend to lean more toward them over a Raz for something like this. Basically, they prevent the Pokemon from moving and attacking. So it allows you to actually hit a Pokemon like Tentacool or Abra. This is also a very nice Pokemon, but I'd like different things in my party to catch it. So Graveler is a huge EXP bomb. And this one's glowing, which is really nice. But of course, nothing else is spawning, so I guess I'll just catch it.
For both of us here, the most important catch is Rhyhorn.
Yes.
For my particular route, it is extremely important that I get Rhyhorn because I am minus special attack. So I really, really need it, and I really hope I see it. It is fairly common to see it, but we both had many runs die to it not showing up. So,
oh yeah,
it's not a required catch for Pikachu normally because the reason why it's really nice is that it's a ride Pokemon, and we haven't really talked about that yet, but you can ride Pokemon in this game. There's no bike, so that's your like way to go faster. Rhyhorn's not super fast, but it is faster than walking. I'm gonna get Arcanine pretty soon, so it's not the end of the world. Oh, you can get Arcanine earlier if you don't get the Rhyhorn, and that's okay. But normally I get Arcanine eventually anyway. Pikachu version or Eevee version actually wants it for a fight earlier on, and I need it for a fight slightly later. The Rhyhorn, or especially in this scenario, it's just faster straight up normally, but because I'm minus special attack, the first Jesse and James fight is going to be awful. Or the next Jesse and James fight is going to be awful.
All right. I didn't take any damage. I'm worried about my attack. I'll be fine.
This is also another section where like your experience can kind of just explode if you get like a glowing graveler or something.
Yeah.
So you gotta weigh your options with those sorts of things to keep an eye on that stuff. Oh, Rhyhorn, thank you. Okay, we're good. We're in the clear.
Lucky.
I can go on peacefully for the rest of this. Oh, I got a grade on that. That's gonna break out. But yeah, having double great balls here has made the section a lot more enjoyable. Things just get in a lot more often like that. And in the past, this was usually where the breakouts started to happen, where runs would start to die due to breakouts. So just not having to deal with that is super cool. Again, like before, really good runs would have like 0 to 2 breakouts, but getting on really good runs was a lot harder. And now it's still 0 to 2 breakouts, but it's a lot easier to get on runs because you just get that a lot more often.
Yeah, and the other thing it does kind of let you do, and it's a lot more important in like the catch 'em all category, is it allows you to. So a lot of times we'll wait for the circle to get to a certain point before throwing, so that way we're guaranteed excellent throws for both experience and catch rate purposes. But you don't actually have to get excellent throws every time.
Yep.
And now that we know the stuff we do about the the catch rate, we can sort of go a lot riskier with our throws on some of these Pokemon because they're not going to be great for experience anyways, and so we can just aim for a great like this, and it's almost guaranteed to be in. And I did not deposit Pokemon in the correct way, so I wanted to keep a Nidoran in my party just to do a little bit of a weird fight.
I also messed up my deposits, so it's all good. There's a Zubat for me. I also need one of those, and my Graveler. So that's everything after that. So I can turn off my lore really early here. I can even repel if I wanted to.
All right, I'm actually going to reload. I never reload this in any percent, but I'm going to reload this just because I really want a Rhyhorn. And this is the best area for things to spawn. And I got both Machop and Rhyhorn. Perfect.
Nice. That was worth it then, yeah. I'm kind of in an awkward spot where I caught so many Pokemon that I actually can't like fit them in my party. Krabby, Machop, and Cubone are all really awkward because they all require 4 levels to evolve. So they're going to be in my party for a while if I do decide to evolve all of them, which I think I'm just going to commit to.
Oh, how does this change things? I think I'm gonna do boom strats because of my attack.
Oh, so yeah, I think you have to.
I have an extra X attack. Oh, I'm saving an X attack on this fight. Yeah, all right, I'm good. Just making sure I've got everything figured out for it. There's so many different things you can do with your X items in this section. It's honestly hard to keep track of sometimes. All right, so that's everything here in Rock Tunnel for me. And Golbat evolved. Man, I was low on catches the entire time, and now I'm actually caught up pretty well.
Nice.
Looks like I'll have 31 on exit.
I will have less because I'll have 30. Which I guess is less, yes, because I'm not going to evolve Zubat. I'm probably just not evolving Zubat at all this run. I should use next time. Unless I need to like even out my catch count, because I don't want to put it back into my party if I don't have to. Oh, I could have double kicked that. That would have killed. My attack was like decent. I probably got like... I saw 2 attack AVs at 15. So, no, yeah, that's just my cycle then is 2 AVs. So I'm at... only 4 AVs, I guess. So yeah, I can turn off my lore. I can even repel if I wanted to, but I don't want to enter the bag for that. Not really worth it. If a Golbat spawns on top of me, I will just catch it because I did catch the... Because I can't evolve the Zubat because there's no room in my party.
All right. Supposed to keep the second controller out, and I forgot. All right, so this is a neat little strat that I came up with. It only works if you have like decently high experience. But normally the way you do this fight is it's 3 turns where you X attack, and then you Sizzly Slide twice. But the problem with that fight is because you Sizzly Slide, you guarantee a burn, and the burn can have status lag. And so, even though this is 4 turns, because it's two turn, 2 controller fight, it ends up being about the same amount of time, and you take way less damage. And if you're at lower health, you can actually Bouncy Bubble there instead of Buzzy Buzz, and you'll also heal. And I did not need to keep that lure up. So that's just awesome time loss.
That's the wrong move. Just crit? No. Does that kill? No. So, to explain why Nidoqueen and Nidoking are good as doubles partners for this section is they come with Helping Hand, which we saw a little bit earlier with Growlithe. I didn't explain it, but basically it's a doubles battle move. You can use it on your partner, and it increases the damage of their next attack. So it's super useful for that. I don't know how I got through that without triggering that Zubat. Hopefully this is okay. And I'm going to use the same thing here. I'm actually just going to Helping Hand twice on this fight. This is another kind of like newer / different strat. It's slightly slower than the optimal strat, where you just use an X item and then attack twice, but basically guarantees you don't have to heal at all in this entire section, and is completely safe to do so. You don't have to worry about like getting burned and losing your entire run.
Actually, what's my speed? I might do that too. Oh my god, my speed is outrageous. I have 71 speed.
Nothing in Pikachu land.
Yeah. I'm gonna outspeed everything except Persian, and I'm not even gonna be using Eevee against Persian.
I actually should have just healed it, I think, because no, I should be fine. No, I have to heal because I'm doing Nidoqueen strats. If I was doing Nidoking, this would have been fine. But I should have done the X attack strat because I need to heal. But I'll just heal away.
Alright, we're good.
The nice thing with this game is that they fixed flash / darkness mechanics, so you don't actually need the light up technique. You can see pretty well here, thankfully. It's very beginner friendly, very player friendly. So we just don't even bother getting that secret technique in the run.
All right.
So yeah, the awkward thing for the rival fight coming up is, well, because I'm using Nidoqueen, it is a slower fight, but Nidoqueen has some other advantages later. Namely, there's a Hypno we come across, and because Nidoqueen comes with Crunch, it can actually just one-shot that pretty reliably with an X attack. So you make up a little bit of the time you lose there, so it helps out a bit. Nidoking, on the other hand, if I had that, would just steamroll the rival and also save time in other places. Like there's a Clefairy coming up soon. Fairy types exist in this game because it is a modern Pokemon game. So Poison Jab from Nidoking always one-shots the Clefairy. Unfortunately, I can't do that because I don't have a Nidoking, so I just have to 2-shot it. But I make up time on the Hypno, so that evens that part out at least.
All right.
And yeah, I should heal this for safety. One thing too to mention is that if you notice, Anakin and I have not saved at all this entire run, which is probably different from what you'd expect for like a Pokemon marathon run. I promise we're not just playing wildly unsafe. It's just that this run is fairly safe for like this sort of, for like a marathon thing, because we always have like extra party members lying around. You get free revives thrown at you all the time. Mm-hmm. So it's very easy to just revive and go back in, and it's not the end of the world if that happens.
Yeah, and there's even some fights where it's like if something did go wrong, you can always just call the second controller.
Yeah.
And do like, oh, if I got confused in a really bad spot, I could call the second controller and heal off the confusion while I attack. Something like that.
Yeah, obviously super slow, but at least it saves your run and saves a no reset type run. So here's the Gloom that is a nightmare. Hopefully it's cooperative.
Yes. I think the first fight that the two of us are going to save for is like the second to last fight in the game.
Gloom was very nice, so we're all good
Nice.
there.
Not saving is quite different than my little experience running a Pokemon game.
Yeah. All right, so my fight here is a bit interesting. So I'm going to be using Eevee and Rhyhorn. So something that you'll notice is if you speedrun these games enough, is you'll notice that as long as you're doing the same thing, the AI is always going to send out Pokemon in the same order. And it's because they have a formula that's basically like they try to pick the Pokemon that has the best effective move power against you. When you're doing these two controller battles, you have two Pokemon that the game can choose to do that formula on, and they don't always produce the same results. So here, obviously Pidgeotto is the lead, so Pidgeotto is always going to come out next, or come out first. Next, it's either going to be Gloom or Raichu. If it's Gloom, which it is here, I can do my entire fight using Eevee as my attacker. So I'll Sizzly Slide X attack, and then I will headbutt and X attack again. If Raichu came out second, I would have to use the Rhyhorn with Drill Run in order to KO the Raichu. So it's a little bit interesting. I also didn't know that Gloom was a range at minus attack. I guess that makes sense, but I didn't die, so I'm good.
Yay.
I probably should have done the Drill Run fight anyways, because this is probably a range now too. We got it. All right.
Yeah, that was we ran that last year, right? Yeah, that was last year. So
And this fight in particular makes the early shop a lot better.
Yeah.
And changes the way you do hideout. Like, it changes a ton just by doing this one fight differently.
yeah, that was like a combination of reroutes that like led to that. Basically, just with the goal of cutting out the X speeds. Because if you cut out the X speeds from that shop, it just saves a lot of headaches with like selling stuff or picking up things, and it makes the money work so much easier. And it actually worked out really well. That fight is just better now than doing it one controller with the guard spec and the X speed and all that stuff. That worked out really nicely. So I'm gonna get metronomed. This thing can horn drill me. See what it does. Supersonic. Wow, that's my favorite move. I've already been hit by that once this run. Thank you for breaking through it. Okay.
All right, good.
I'm
about to have
I've
my
had some
own
very
metronome.
funny things from this Clefairy marathon run. So, are you? Did you get anything funny? Are you gonna get anything funny?
I'm about to go into the fight.
Oh right, yeah, because you had more Pokemon than me.
Yeah,
so yeah, I'm gonna use the Firestone. I'm gonna grab it.
The one thing we may not actually see metronome because I will be using Headbutt, and Headbutt does have a 30% chance to flinch. So
what do I do here? I guess I catch both Rattata and Abra because it showed up. Okay. Sure. Yeah, I guess. This is a very weird situation. Again, my party is completely full, so I probably shouldn't have caught Rattata, but this is my only chance realistically to get Abra. So I guess I just catch it. And if I'm going to catch that, I might as well get the Rattata too. I could get Raticate later, which is fine. I don't have to evolve this, even though it is faster to evolve it typically than catching, especially Raticate, which is kind of harder to catch. This is so funky, but I definitely take the Abra here. Abra has the funny thing where if you run in front of it, it teleports away, so the fact that it spawned this way is perfect. It is kind of hard to catch, so I'm going to nab it.
all right, I got a flinch as my metronome. This Eevee has flinched so many things. Those poor Raticates earlier. All right, I'm actually not going to go through that grass at all, even though I do want to pick up a Firestone. There's one you can grab later that's a little bit faster. But I also don't have anything to evolve into to get really fast ride Pokemon like Etchy does. So
Yeah, I'm going to be evolving for that Arcanine before that second Firestone pops up. Oh, I could just catch that Raticate. No, I'm not doing that. No. Stay strong.
all right,
This is such
last
a
chance
weird
for me to
party.
see
I
an
don't know what
Abra.
to do.
Oh my god, did you hear about how I YOLO'd Abra the other day?
Yeah, what happened?
So I was two catches down, and I didn't know how to fix it. And so when I flew to go do Sea Skim, I just went over to the right, and there was an Abra sitting there. so I just caught it.
Very
All right.
nice. I love
so
having the YOLO average. That's how you know it's a good run.
Yeah. I got crit by Geo. That's the only reason I died, or I lost the run. All right, so I just taught another broken move to Eevee. So that was Glitzy Glow. Glitzy Glow is a 90 base power psychic special move that sets up a light screen. So it is a very powerful move, and it obviously has a very powerful effect. We're going to be using both to their fullest effect. And I also set my synchronize. So abilities aren't a thing in this game, which don't really come into play too much for the speedrun, but I guess there are some cases where it would. But the main thing is you don't have a way to guarantee what nature a Pokemon is going to be. In the other games in the series, if you have a Pokemon with the ability Synchronize, all wild Pokemon will match that Pokemon's nature. And so we can spend $10,000, and for the rest of the day, which is important that we set our clock the way we did, for the rest of the day, we will always have the same nature Pokemon. So we set that to modest. Our main Pokemon is going to require really good special attacks, so that's going to be very important.
So now we're entering Rocket Hideout / Game Corner section. This is one of the scariest parts in the game in terms of like level curve. It hits very hard, very fast, because the game kind of expects you to do a lot more stuff before you go here. Things are going to be pretty high level compared to us, and there's some very scary fully evolved Pokemon at the bottom.
I think Erica's a lower level than the stuff in Hideout.
Yeah, because they're
I
tangled.
want to say Erica's like level 30s.
Yeah. Low 30s. And then it only goes up from here, but fortunately there's not too much required after this, and we are going to jump levels very hard, very fast. So here's where my Nidoqueen's going to carry me. Hopefully it is strong enough to just one-shot this Hypno. It is much easier to one-shot this thing with Hypno with Nidoqueen than Nidoking. Again, because we have a Crunch Dark type move, very powerful. Please just do it.
Please get this range.
I'm level 28,
Okay.
should be fine.
Whew. My Hypno was a 2-shot.
What? You're 28! How did you not kill? What?
All right. So that was basically the last fight that I have to worry about my minus attack for. There is one more fight I'm supposed to use my attack on, but I'm going to do a different strat for it. Actually, this fight too, I'm supposed to headbutt, but I'm going to do a different fight.
That was so sad. I can't believe that was like, there was like 20% HP left. How weak is this Nidoqueen? This might be minus attack or something.
Oh no.
So that was like the one upside of Nidoqueen is gone. So that was cool. This next part's going to be pretty different. Again, this part's really nice with Nidoking because you can just use Nidoking basically as your main to this fight. And I will not be doing that. Oh, I needed to summon the second controller.
I definitely outspeed this. I'm not going to one-shot this, but Stomp should do the trick. Yeah, cool.
The alternative to this strat, if you don't have a Nidoking, is to actually just swap up Rhyhorn now and use Rhyhorn as kind of your main to this section. And we are going to switch to Rhyhorn pretty soon, but only for one fight because I didn't do it here. I should have just done it here and showed it off, but basically Rhyhorn is really, really awesome. You saw it. Etiquette explained earlier why it's really good for that rival fight earlier. We don't need it because it just doesn't work out that way for Pikachu. But on the on this upcoming Jesse and James fight, it is actually pretty important that we have Rhyhorn because Jesse and James is quite a bit worse with Pikachu normally if you just do the old strat. The old strat was literally Thunderbolt, use an X special,
So bad.
and then you just spam Thunderbolt and heal every turn. So it ended up being at least one turn slower on average than Eevee. Sometimes Eevee could high roll and just do like a 2-turn fight, or at least Now you can, yeah. You can get like a 2-turn fight. Please just hit through this.
I'm like 1 EXP away from 28 for Jesse and James.
Oh, jeez.
I might have been able to one-shot. I don't know. Probably not.
So the alternative now is to use Rhyhorn basically as our attacker because it comes with Drill Run, super powerful ground type move, and ground is super effective against poison type. And there's no abilities in this game, so Weezing doesn't have a levitate. You don't have to worry about that. And it means the fight becomes a 2 to 3 turn double battle fight. It's 2-turn if Rhyhorn just got really high XP or is just really strong and just destroys Arbok immediately. But even the worst case scenario, assuming you don't miss, is still pretty good and much better than the Pika fight.
Yeah.
And it's also just much safer because like Rhyhorn and Nidoqueen just don't die.
Yeah, Drill Run's also a high crit rate move, so you could always get lucky and get the 1 in 8 crit as well.
Really?
Yep.
I had no idea. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just to let you guys know that we're ready to break whenever you two are like both at a good stopping point. So just let us know and we can take our quick little break.
Probably when we're both out of hideout, I would say.
Yep, no worries. Just
I mean,
We have like 3 fights still.
yeah.
Yeah. And the fight for etiquette also kind of got rerouted recently for Jesse and James. Basically, the old strat was much safer and like very cautious, and I understand why. But like, basically, I realized that like, so Glitzy Glow sets up a light screen for you, and as long as you go for Glitzy Glow instantly in the fight, you're usually pretty safe. Usually.
Yep.
Even if you don't kill the Arbok. And it has the upside of sometimes you just kill the Arbok and you just 2-turn the fight and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But it basically cuts out sacrificing a Pokemon, which is another reason why both these fights have been rerouted recently and why it has saved time for both of us is that we used to sacrifice a Pokemon because it was like the only way to safely get off attacks with our Pikachu/Eevee. And so that sacrificing, even if it didn't add more turns, it added extra menuing and also added like 12 seconds just of watching the death animation and sending out a new Pokemon. So we've cut that out basically completely.
Yeah. And what's really funny about it is I remember when I saw the fight, actually doing the fight, I was like, oh, great, we're back to doing this. Because this was honestly the strat in Eevee when we first had like a really solid route. This was what we were doing. And we stopped doing it because it just wasn't super consistent for us. And it turns out the one difference, like Etchy said, was as long as you use Glitzy Glow turn 1 and set up that light screen, we would do double X special on turn 1. And we wouldn't have the light screen up. So if you got double targeted, it was horrible.
Yeah, the Arbok has glare, so what usually happens is it just either kills you or puts you just in paralysis, which is really scary.
Yeah,
Okay,
crit
Crunch
turn
is
2.
great. You just don't want to see paralysis on your Rhyhorn here, and I got the one shot. So it was very favored to be a 2-turn, although this Weezing might not just die immediately, but I will go for it, and hopefully it will just die. The safe thing to do here is use an X attack instead of Helping Hand, because then if you miss, you can just Helping Hand next turn in a one-shot. But I just went for it, and we won. So 2-turn fight for me. Again, huge step up from what we used to, and it's effectively the same as saving 3 turns from the old fight. Because the death animation is basically 1 turn, 1 double battle turn.
So I got crit. So Eevee died.
Oh no.
That's fine though.
Yeah, crits kind of go through light screens, unfortunately. Doesn't help you with that.
All right. So the bright side is I can't get glared that time because I am faster than the Arbok.
This is a Rocket Admin Archer. He is much more annoying later, and we'll talk about that. But for now, this is a pretty straightforward fight. Fortunately, he's not too scary here, although the scary thing that can happen is sometimes your Pikachu just dies if you're minus special defense and you get unlucky. Oh, the paralysis actually worked. Whoa, that's so unlikely. Let's go.
All right. So we're going to revive the Rhyhorn. That's supposed to be a 3-turn fight, by the way, and that was like 7 because
Oh no.
it was such a bad way. Like I got crit turn 2. It was just
Yeah, the new strat does still have risk, unfortunately. So things can you're more likely to have bad things happen, but it does save time. So it's worth the risk. And again, especially like turn 2 is super unlikely to die. It's super unfortunate. Basically only dying to crit there.
Oh, I kind of played this wrong. It should be fine. I might have another death animation here. This fight's kind of interesting on the Eevee side. You can go in at low health as long as you only have to heal one thing. And both my Eevee and Rhyhorn are at low health, so this is actually not ideal, but Eevee is more important, so we will make sure we Glitzy Glow, Super Potion. If Rhyhorn goes down here, it's not the end of the world.
Yep. Here for Giovanni, we show the power of how to deal maximum damage. This Rhyhorn's pretty hard to kill for us because we do not have a water move or grass move available for us. So the way we kill it is by maxing out our attack with 3 X attacks to put us at +6 or 300% boost. And then on top of that, my Nidoqueen's going to use Helping Hand to further boost our damage, and then Double Kick will kill from there. And that is the fastest way for us to kill Rhyhorn. I wish I had a better option. I wish I had a better answer for it.
And we actually have, this is not the way that we do the Giovanni fight anymore. The way I'm about to show it, but this is what I'm doing today because I have bad attack. So Eevee can easily take out the Rhyhorn on Giovanni. Like we don't have an issue. We've got Bouncy Bubble. We don't need any sort of setup in order to KO. But the Persian is a little bit more of an issue. And so the way that we're supposed to do it is we X attack and then Sizzly Slide twice. By Sizzly Sliding, we decrease the attack of the Persian, so it does way less damage to us. And we're able to live. Instead, we're going to do, like I said, a bit of an outdated strat, but still really cool. So Graveler has this great move called Self-Destruct. Self-Destruct is an extremely powerful move. It's basically like the second most powerful move in Pokemon, only behind Explosion, which is the same effect. And we're going to set up 2x attacks while we're getting hit by these not very effective normal moves, and then just boom and destroy this Persian.
Boom.
Alright, and I do have enough X attacks for the run. With all these secondary strats, I'm not sure about my X item usage, but we'll be fine.
Yeah, the Sizzly Slide thing is a very nice improvement. I was able to work out earlier this year because it actually makes the fight faster than the Pika version fight is. And
Yeah,
what do I do here?
It's a little bit scary if you have minus defense, but that's really about it. Okay.
I guess I will get rid of you. Oh wait, I guess I'll bring you in.
All right, so I think once I'm out of these dialogue boxes, whenever Etchy is ready, I am good to break.
I am good whenever.
All right.
I guess I can give us a pause countdown if you want.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, pause.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, cool. Chat, anyone here is new and you don't know what we're doing, we like to take breaks throughout our runs just to kind of, give our runners a break, give me a break to get up and stretch, and, just practice some healthy habits. So stick around. We'll be back after a few minutes to figure out why Eevee is the better Pokemon. All right, welcome back, everyone. Before we get back to our race, I just want to read a couple of announcements to you. So just as a reminder, your subs, Prime Gaming subs, gift subs, and bits cheered on the GDQ Twitch channel help support Games Done Quick, both with our daily hotfix content like you're watching right now, and with AGDQ 2023 cost. So, please consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. If you got a Prime Gaming sub laying around, we'd love if you used it here. Also, next weekend, we have the King of the Silent Hill show, which will be a series of races featuring the Silent Hill series. We will also have the Captain Toad Anniversary Special. Each of those will start at 1 p.m. Eastern next weekend, November 19th and 20th. So I think I'm going to go ahead and give it back to our runners, but I would like chat for you to discuss how you get a ghost type Eevee if we ever get ghost type Eevees.
Oh no.
So
use a ghost stone.
Yeah, ghost stone.
That's it. Yeah.
So, I'm going to throw it to Etchy this time because I threw it to Etiquette last time.
Thank you. Finally. Wait, are you going to count us down or?
I guess I can. Do you want to count?
Go for it.
Count?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll count. Let's go in.
I trust you.
Oh, okay. That's a mistake, but that's fine. 3, 2, 1, go.
Speaking of ghost stones, we are now doing Pokemon Tower for real. We were here earlier, but we couldn't actually progress. We didn't have the Sylph Scope, but now we do. We would like to see a Ghastly here. We don't actually need it. I shouldn't have lured for it, but I'm probably just going to skip it completely, actually, because I have a really weird catch situation. So
She has so many planned right now.
yeah, so right now I have 34 caught, and I have a really weird... I have like 3 Pokemon that can evolve that just don't fit in my party at the moment, so those are just kind of chilling. So I currently have 61 planned, and we only need 50 again for Koga. And again, with the... I'm going to be careful here. I was a little too slow. For those who have come in late or just haven't seen like Let's Go speedruns before, they are very... How do I say it? One of us being ahead or behind does not mean one of us is actually ahead or behind in terms of just like progressing, like story progression, because we both have to catch 50 Pokemon in order to complete the game, so specifically to fight Koga and enter his gym. So I could be like really far ahead story-wise, but if I have less Pokemon, that means I'm not actually ahead, and vice versa. So
Yeah, so we were roughly about the same story progression wise until I had a little bit of a hard time on some of the last battles right before the break. So
yeah,
I'm actually both behind.
You were good, yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually behind both progression and catch count wise. But a lot of things can change, especially on the next route, because the next route's a pretty important catching section. So still anyone's race.
Yeah, and end game is only 2/3 of this run revolves around the catching requirement. The last hour is pretty much just normal Pokemon speedrun stuff, and there a crit will just torpedo either of us at any moment. So totally fine, and could still go either way.
All right, so here's my Ghastly. My catch count isn't quite as nice as Etchy's, so I do really want this. I'm also going to... Nope, I guess I'm not going to. I was going to switch to Ultra Balls, but there's this weird thing where if you already hit your ready as one controller, you can't go to the bag, and I didn't feel like changing it, so...
Ghastly is like one of the most annoying mons to catch, especially mid-game.
Yeah, and it just broke out, so I should have switched to Ultra Balls. I got punished.
You can see the way it was like moving around in Etiquette's screen. He likes to just kind of bounce all around the place, so you pretty much always have to nab it unless you get an early cycle attack. Sometimes it works out where like you switch to Ultra Balls and he attacks while you're doing that, so you don't have to throw the nabs, but typically you do. And then you basically can never get an excellent on it either. It's super annoying. Which is why I usually don't like catching it, but you usually end up being forced to. And here is Jesse and James, and I'm not going to do the same strat I did last time. I'm actually going to kind of do the old strat, but sort of different. I'm going to make sure my party is correct. Yep. So I am going to sacrifice Growlithe, and it works for a couple. It helps us for a couple reasons. One is that it lets me do this old strat, and the reason we don't do the Rhyhorn stuff is that Rhyhorn will get destroyed because Weezing has Dark Pulse and Flamethrower now, whereas before it only had poison moves, and you can just one-shot or flinch Rhyhorn. Really scary. So we're just going to do the sacrificial strat. Totally fine. Not the end of the world. And it's basically the strat I said before, where we expect spam T-Bolt, heal up as needed. Works out okay. And hopefully, even though I'm on a special attack, I can still do enough damage. It looks like I'll be okay. I'm going to send in Rhyhorn now. And it's actually nice that Growlithe is dead, because we're going to keep Growlithe as a ride Pokemon for the next section. And because it is dead, it will not gain any experience from any of our catches. What happened?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing at all happened. The game didn't feel sorry for me at all. So spinners don't fully see you unless they have stopped spinning, which is a really nice thing sometimes.
Yeah, it's not like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for this YOLO, where I do T-Bolt Drill Run. I don't think it's going to work, but this Rhyhorn's pretty sick, so maybe it will.
Okay. Oh, I got Kingler.
Paralysis didn't bail me out there. Did not work out. Oh, I can't send an Abra because you'll die. Keep on spinning.
Yeah. I also did make a mistake, and this is mostly just because I was doing an outdated strat. I forgot to switch the Eevee back to the front of my party. And so I had to do the first Haunter with Rhyhorn, which luckily Rhyhorn has Drill Run, so it was fine. But a little awkward.
That was my least favorite thing of the boom strats, is I would make that mistake 70% of the time. All right, so that was a little sloppy. Went for a YOLO and did not work out, but it's okay. We're free now. And that was our last time using Pikachu in a battle. Pikachu's just done for the rest of this this run. Everyone say goodbye to Pikachu, and it'll be the same for Etiquette with Eevee shortly. Yep. So I'm going to do some menuing here. I'm going to mark Growlithe as my ride Pokemon now. I'm also going to swap in stuff. I still don't really know what I want to do. I guess I do this. That works. I guess. Yeah, I'm just going to have a full party going into this route. Sure. Yeah. Why not?
Oh, so you don't have to worry about like Doduo evolving necessarily?
Right, yeah. So this, like I mentioned at the very start, this is any %, which is technically a different category from the old any %, which is now called any % no mount skips. We're going to be doing a glitch, exploit, oversight, whatever you want to call it, towards the end of the run. And it actually starts mattering now beyond just like item pickup differences or shopping differences. Before, all we did was like not sell the fossil, but from this point on, it actually impacts things. And I will explain it once I get over there.
Can we change the category name to no arms?
No arms. What does it stand for? No Aerodactyl or Rapidash mount skips.
Mount skips. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
You can do this game with that too. So yeah, we'll explain those pretty soon, but basically the way it impacts the run from this point on is typically you are required to get a Ponyta on this next route because you're going to use it, evolve it into a Rapidash and use it as your ride Pokemon for the rest of the run. But now we are always going to get an Aerodactyl in this category for that specific mount skip, glitch, exploit, whatever. And I'm just going to call it that the rest of this run. And Aerodactyl is the fastest ride Pokemon and functions the same as Rapidash for that part. And even though Rapidash is nice for like some specific battles, Aerodactyl or other Pokemon can fill those same roles. So if you don't get it, it's totally fine. And same thing applies to like Doduo. You usually don't require Doduo, but it is kind of like a nice to have. Here, it's just straight up not required at all. Here's Snorlax. This is the only like wild battle we do in this where like we don't try to catch it. You're a Zubat. Run away. Thank you. And that's because it's the only one that's like structured as a typical Pokemon wild encounter where you have to battle it first. Except you actually have to like defeat it, and then you can catch it the way we normally do. So it's just not worth it. It takes too long. It's too slow. It's also hard to catch.
This is the worst Jesse and James fights I've ever had with these strats.
Oh no.
I got double targeted turn 2 and died.
Again? It's because it knows your minus attack.
Which doesn't even matter on this fight.
It smells
But it's like we have to kick him down.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Dodo not required, but I need Mons, and we're going to take it. And again, this entire section is also just way more consistent now, because we're using an Ultra Ball and a Great Ball instead of an Ultra Ball and a Pokeball like we used to. Again, the game lies to you and tells you that second Pokeball doesn't matter, but it actually does matter and impacts catch rate pretty significantly, so things are just a lot nicer now because we do that. And I need to start unplanning Pokemon, otherwise I'm just going to catch a bunch of extra ones.
Yeah, and you'll even see like in the catch 'em all categories, we'll actually be using double Ultra Balls, just because it's so much better, especially for things like the legendary birds.
Yeah.
So real quick, is this category no arms or is this category arms?
This is arms.
This one
This
is
arms.
arms, yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I have to fix something.
Sorry.
We can probably talk about the skips fairly soon. Let me actually get into like the battles coming up soon, and then I can do it.
Yeah.
All right. I've changed
I just need to catch one of Ponyta or Grimer, and then I'm good to go for the rest of the run. Hopefully.
I've changed it from no arms to yes arms, so we're good.
Oh, I don't need these silver Razzes. I guess it's fine for safety. Rapidash? No, thank you. So yeah, I'm gonna just go for Grimer then. Kind of a weird catch scenario, but we'll take it.
Is Grimer the only catch you have left?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I was cutting out so many things. I was starting to worry that like I had too many things. I thought I was just in trouble because I was gonna overcatch, or just had to cut out like the free fast catches. So here's normally where the Safari Zone is, but in this game it's replaced with the Go Park. Like I said, this is a Pokemon Go inspired type game, so you can actually transfer Pokemon from Pokemon Go directly into the game. And this is where you do it. It's unfortunate there's no Safari Zone because that would probably drastically impact this run where you have to catch a lot of Pokemon, and you can see it in like Fire Red Leaf Green Round 2 speedruns, which is pretty similar to this, except you have to catch 60 Pokemon instead of 50, and Safari Zone's a huge make or break point in that run. Here we just kind of have to deal with not having it, but fortunately it still works out pretty well. And then we're going to get the Sea Skim technique, which is another secret technique. It's basically just surf. So now we can surf, and now that we can surf, we can go finally start doing gym battles again, because we're going to catch a Staryu on the route south of Pallet Town. Staryu comes at level 43 and is very powerful. Water Psychic type is like perfect coverage for this run, and it's like a perfect storm main Pokemon where everything just works out for it perfectly, and it ends up being awesome for this game.
Yeah, there's one type combination that gets walled that walls the Starmie, and we have actually a few different ways to handle it. So.
Yeah, now we do. I forgot. I have to fly to Pewter City first.
Yes.
I keep forgetting to do this part because we don't do this normally. So like I said, we're going to get Aerodactyl. I was supposed to do this earlier, but it's fine to do it here as well.
All right. This game knows I've been running AOP lately and gave me a Eevee. All right, Psyduck's really nice. Because that means I don't have to catch coughing. So I'm done. Other than I need to catch, obviously, Staryu and Ponyta still. But other than that, I'm done with catching.
Nice. So yeah, this old Amber is required to revive Aerodactyl. It is really far out of the way, and you might be wondering like why it's worth it. And it's because this one decision saves us several minutes later, even though it does take like a minute to do this. It's pretty slow. But the other nice thing is that by doing this, we're also reviving the fossil we got in Mount Moon, so we end up getting basically 3 Pokemon pretty fast as a result. So it's not the end of the world that it takes so long. We at least get something out of it. And there's my Staryu. So after this, it's just the Grimer, and then I'm done catching.
Oh, there's a Ponyta. Perfect. And it's glowing, which is nice because I have a couple of things that are still stubbornly not evolving yet. But this should hopefully get them there. Not with that throw, though.
Okay, Grimer's going to give me a or triple evolution, so just got to hang tight until that happens. Hopefully Grimer is nice to me. A bad Grimer catch will actually kind of tank me here, because then my party is going to be weird for a while. Because I really want everything in my party to evolve before then.
That's fine. This is a really low C-skim count. I'm not used to it this low.
What is it?
I'm going to have 38 at C-skim. Which it's fine on planned count, but...
Yeah, I have a 38 as well. Right now at south of Palette. It kind of just happens with this category too, where your plant count is lower because you do get the 3 free mons later that you don't normally get in no mount skips.
All right, so I'm going to throw the Ponyta in my party here, and I'm actually going to evolve it immediately using a rare candy. We actually pick up a rare candy specific for this. Ponyta, or Rapidash rather, is just in a class way above Rhyhorn, and it's not even worth waiting until later on when you're like already in a menu to do it. It's literally worth doing a special menu for the Rapidash because it saves that much time.
Yeah, and burning the rare candy on it and everything, it's just worth it.
Yep.
So I'm going to revive Omanite and Aerodactyl now. I will throw them in my party soon. Again, Aerodactyl will be our new ride Pokemon for the rest of the run. Etiquette can kind of use whichever one is more convenient and can switch to it later when he needs to. Since he does have the Rapidash anyways. In the older versions of the older Kanto games, you have to like leave this room and re-enter, but fortunately this is a modern video game for the Nintendo Switch, so we can just mash A here. It's great. For any Gen 1 enjoyers in chat who have not played this game, I highly recommend it. This is the one that got me back into Pokemon after not playing for like 10 years. It is super fun, super love-filled, love-filled love letter to Gen 1. It's great.
Got it in one. Got it in one.
Easy, yeah. No, I recovered that really smoothly.
Yeah, it's also one of the best games in the series for like challenge runs or anything like that. Completing the decks is super like compared to other games in the series. I'm not saying it's the fastest thing in the world, but like completing the decks is actually super quick compared to the other games. There's a ton of different kinds of challenges you can do. There's all sorts of Pokemon everywhere. It's a really great game for that.
Yeah, the Professor Oak's challenge where you get all the Pokemon you can before a given gym leader is like super doable in this game. It's great. And also really fun. All right, so I'm going to get 3 evolutions here. And then I can finally start messing around and prepare for this endgame set.
You're evolving Zubat now still?
Yeah, because
what happened?
So I caught Zubat last, I think, in Rock Tunnel. And I had Krabby, Cubone, Machop all in my party just wasting space this entire time. And then I caught a Rattata and an Abra while getting the Firestone, and they went straight to my box. So I was just like, I might as well just do this now.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Very awkward that it kind of worked out like this, but it's fine. So yeah, now I'm going to have 46 for Blaine. Yeah. Which is a pretty high catch count for Blaine. But yeah, once we get like a little bit past Blaine, usually Blaine is when things start to normalize between like the catch rate or the catch route and like the actual pace and everything starts to normalize together. But it doesn't fully settle in until we get our 50 Pokemon and basically get to Koga.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot easier to tell like definitively who's ahead or behind, because at that point catch doesn't matter, catch route. So now that I have all this done, I'm going to put Starmie in my party. Going to put in slot 1. I am going to who do I put in slot 2? I guess Grimer. Yeah, Grimer's fine for now. And then I'm going to mark Aerodactyl as my ride Pokemon. Again, we're going to ride Aerodactyl for the rest of the run. And Aerodactyl's existence is incredibly important for saving a lot of time later with fancy mount skips.
It's because Aerodactyl has arms.
This is true. Does Rapidash have arms?
It must.
I mean, yeah, it has to, right?
All right, good.
Are those arms? Or are those just legs?
Maybe we need to change the name of the category again.
I don't know. All right, so I'm going to put in Staryu here. Slot 2 will be Grimer. All that. So this is my party for the rest of the way. We're both going to be doing different candy routes here. I'm going to do 4+0 candies is what it's called. This is minimum special attack. Please get more Eevees. Okay, this is good. I'm getting a bunch of Eevees. And I was supposed to use the Water Stone first, but it's not the end of the world. The biggest nice thing of this category is that we are completely not teaching Hydro Pump anymore.
Yes.
Which is awesome, and is like the whole reason why I love this category now. The end game's so much more consistent when you don't have to rely on Hydro Pump as like a live or die type move. Hydro Pump, for those who don't know, is 110 power, so super strong, but 80 accuracy. And most of the time when you use Hydro Pump, not most of the time, like half the time you use Hydro Pump, if you miss it, you die. So
yeah.
just not having to deal with that is super, super nice and makes the run a lot more consistent, a lot less frustrating. We're also going to be teaching Scald here, which is a broken water move, 80 power, super strong, and also has a 30% chance to burn. The burn ends up not being helpful and ends up wasting more time more often than not. I'm also going to use a Repel here, but Scald's going to be our main attacking move. Our Starmie also has Psychic, and then we're going to teach it Thunderbolt later, and those are the 3 main moves we're going to be using. This is the Electrode of Death. I just really want him to hit Grimer or not paralyze my Starmie. Either of the two is okay. I guess don't crit me either. Okay. Oh, totally fine.
Yeah, my special attack is not great either.
Woo! The other nice thing with this category is bad special attack does not hurt you as much.
Yeah.
So, not the end of the world. Not ideal, but not the end of the world.
Yeah, one of the like main fights where it matters in the normal route is Lorelei, where you can either go to +4 and risk a Hydro Pump, or you can go to +6 and you can Scald everything, or you can Scald the Jinx. Since we don't teach Hydro Pump, we pretty much always go to +6 anyways. Only if you have like really good special attack do you save that turn.
Yeah, the only real scary part of this entire run now for bad special attack is going to be Lance, the E4 member. And hopefully that is just not a problem for either of us.
Yep.
There are backup strats, but they're not ideal. So
I am definitely with the special attack doing. You candy to 53 before Lance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing that. There's no chance I'm not. Who's ahead? Etchy is ahead right now.
Yeah. There's a rare candy up here, but I don't need it. I'm going to grab a faster one later, and that'll be the one I use for Lance, which is normally something you don't do in the regular no mount scoop category, but because we are going to be skipping many trainers, our experience is just not going to work out if we don't do that.
Yeah, and I will be grabbing that candy because I needed an earlier candy for Rapidash, so I only have 3 right now, and I'll have to grab that one to use it after Sabrina.
All right, and after like an hour and a half, we're finally at the 3rd gym leader. We did it. Blaine is a fire type gym leader. We have a super strong water type. Not too scary, but he can make you lose a bunch of time if he decides to burn you. And sometimes you can just save a lot of time if he decides to not use Confuse Ray for some reason. First up is this quiz. Hopefully I don't mess up.
Double-checking.
If you
Yeah,
mess up any of
definitely.
these, you have to do an extra fight.
Certainly haven't lost world record runs to that before.
I'll probably talk a lot about the Mount Skip stuff as we're doing like Surge and Erica. That's probably the best time. We're still a ways away from those, but that'll be the best time to talk about them because there's not much going on in that section. And because I did quadruple candy, there's basically no risk in this section. I should outspeed everything, and I shouldn't have special attack low enough to not one-shot things, so it should be fine. I didn't actually check what my special attack was, but I did get at least 2 AVs, so should be okay. Is 72 minimum at 43? It is, right? Or like near minimum?
I think so. I had 73, so.
Oh, well. Balling out over there. Okay, no confuse, right? No. We get these nice little items called Peter Crunchies and Shaler Sable during the run. They are effectively just free heal, full heal items that we get from random NPCs. So we don't actually have to buy full heals until later if you want them. I usually skip them unless I use all my full heal freebie items before that point.
Oh, that would have been bad. All right. Oh, I don't have any. Oh, all right, whatever. I'm gonna have to do a little bit of a slower thing here. So I have had bad luck getting targeted when I don't want to. So I opted to do a bit of a slower fight here, but way safer, where I sacrifice the Doduo.
Okay, yeah.
On Ted, and what you're supposed to do is basically revive on the second turn, because you need the Doduo alive in order to evolve it. And I used up all my revives earlier, so I'm gonna have to take the heal bed here. Not a huge time loss.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I ended up using the heal bed too. I supered, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play safe. I just went to the heal bed anyway, even though it was super unnecessary. So logically, after defeating the 7th gym leader, we're gonna go fight the 3rd one. We are much higher level than Surge at this point, so hopefully we can still win. Even though he's electric type, which is scary, we are water type.
Yeah, that's one of the things that makes Starmie such a good Pokemon for this. So, like, in Pokemon, the only types that are super effective against a Starmie are Electric, Grass, Bug, and Dark. Bug is obviously not a very good type, so it doesn't come into play very often. Dark is a great type, but Kanto Pokemon, there's no Dark Pokemon that are Kanto Pokemon. The only ones are the Alola forms that you just don't come across in the game. So you really only have to worry about Grass and Electric, which both have gym leaders, but both of those gym leaders are way under-leveled compared to us. So there's basically just no problem for the Starmie.
Yeah, and two of the 3 Grass-type Pokemon are weak to Psychic, so
Yeah.
Works out pretty nicely. Huge upgrade for this gym, too, is that the solution's the same every time. Well, unlike the other games where you have to like save and quit and just save scum until you get it. It's really brutal for those. But here it's always this cannon and the middle one. Doesn't matter which order you pick.
Yeah, and I kind of like it. I didn't realize this until like way after the game came out. As you fight the 2 trainers there in the gym, they will give you hints as to where the barrels are. So that's why it's fixed, is because it's an actual puzzle that you can solve. You don't have to randomly guess.
I 100% just randomly guess when I play.
Oh, yeah.
Casually, yeah, I don't know.
Well, it's because I don't want to fight an optional trainer.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's why like one of the barrels is like red and one of them is blue. It's because it's like, oh, one of the things is next to the red barrel or something like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Here's the only steel type in Kanto.
Yep.
Yeah, this being a Gen 7 game with Kanto-only Pokemon has a lot of interesting side effects, like what Eke was saying, where there's no dark types, so you only have to deal with dark moves, and there's really not that many you have to deal with, so it's pretty cool.
And one of the most prominent ones you do have to deal with is actually on quite a few Pokemon with Sucker Punch, but there's really weird AI surrounding Sucker Punch where like sometimes they just won't use it.
Yep. A lot of it's funny. A lot of the dark moves that there's a lot of dark moves that have weird AI quirks. Pursuit is another one.
Yeah.
Feint. Wait, Feint's normal, right?
Feint is normal, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pursuit and Sucker Punch are just they're just always treated weirdly by the AI, and it's very illogical when they decide to use them. But Surge gave us a pretty cool move there called Thunderbolt. We're gonna be using that. My favorite thing about this game is that all the gym leader TMs rip and are super, super good. Unlike, say, Sword Shield, where you just get the worst TMs possible after every gym leader. I'm going to...
Yeah, it's... The first like gym leader here gives you Headbutt, which is a 70 base power move. You get Scald as an 80 base power. And it's absurd. And it's also really funny because a lot of the TMs that you can just find on the ground are not very good.
Yeah. While I do this gym, I can start talking about the mount skip stuff. Yeah. It's a lot to explain. I will try my best to explain this in a concise and easily understood way. So, math. So trainer vision is effectively, it's approximately 25 pixels. I think it's exactly 25. I don't remember a lot of the numbers off the top of my head. So you can envision it like, imagine a laser coming out of a trainer's forehead, right? Or their feet or whatever. And it's about 25 pixels long. And if your trainer ever appears, if your trainer's like coordinates ever appear within that 25 pixel vision, then they will see you and initiate the battle. Pretty straightforward. But there are ways to avoid that trainer vision. So there are certain mounts in the game that can move 26 pixels, up again, approximately 26 pixels at their max speed. So Aerodactyl is one, as is Rapidash, and I believe those are the only two, where they can both just straight up go 26 pixels. And you might think, oh, that just means you just walk past them and you always like don't hit them. And that's not the case, because we did not find out about the ability to kind of walk past this vision until last year, like halfway through last year when Cruel just like randomly did it. And the reason why we never found out about it is because you always talk to trainers in this game because it's faster than letting them see you and walk towards you. So Cruel just accidentally just didn't like think that person was a trainer, just walked past them basically on a Rapidash, and they just didn't trigger the fight. We were just like, what? So I put a lot of research into it this year. Shout out to Anubis. Sandy helped out with a bunch of stuff too. Anubis did a lot of Pokemon research stuff to help us figure things out and figure out a lot of the math. But basically how this works is you can think of it like if you're at a specific starting spot and you just accelerate, go to max speed as like an Aerodactyl. If you're every like 26 pixels from that exact spot, if you just hold up, then if it's the correct spot, then you will just kind of move 26 pixels past their vision. So the way these setups that we're going to do works is we do basically manipulate our character off of the environment and obstacles in the environment so that we have perfect consistency with the setups, such that we can hit these basically pixel perfect tricks. And the reason it works is because one, we use a special controller. We have to use these controllers. This is also why it's a separate category. Is the Joy-Cons are too unreliable normally, because I'm going to switch Aerodactyl here really quickly, and then I'll fly. The normal Joy-Cons don't have any kind of like gating to them. So if you just want to hold, if you want to go straight up in this game, or like in general with like Joy-Con, you can't really do that perfectly. And these setups are like basically sub-pixel perfect too. And if you're on a different sub-pixel, let's say you're at your X coordinate's like 1500.5 and you need to be on 1500.9, you cannot visually tell that. Like you just look like you're in the same position, even though the game knows you're in a different position. You look like, if you just do a side-by-side image comparison, it's going to look like you're in the same spot. So the only way we can guarantee that is using a controller that has this like a what is this? Octagonal gate? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this controller just lets us guarantee, like, if we hold up, we're always going to go straight up. If we hold left, always go straight left. That's all it does.
Yeah, you can think of it like how a GameCube controller has notches. It's like that, but it's like enforced digitally. It's not like a physical. I think both of our controllers have physical notches as well, but that's not what's happening. It's something like digitally that's preventing it from drifting a little.
Yeah, and if for anyone who's like replaced the joysticks on their Joy-Cons before, you might have noticed that like a lot of the third-party joysticks have something like that, where like they kind of lock into a direction. Even if you try to like go in between directions and you kind of like force it. The same thing's happening with like this kind of controller. And there's other controllers that do the same sort of thing. But part of why this took so long for people to test with too is like this controller didn't exist, or controllers like this didn't exist for a while. I only found out about this a few months ago. So I immediately ordered it and started doing testing. But you'll see what I mean later. But basically we manipulate our location to be sub-pixel perfect and then do specific movements, and that lets us win.
Yep.
And save a lot of time. And now we're back to fighting trainers, namely Team Rocket stuff, but first we gotta fight Blue. Okay, I got the crunch kill.
Nice.
Sorry. That is not always guaranteed.
Yeah, and another thing that's worth mentioning about the Aerodactyl and Rapidash mount skips is it's actually quite nice for us that it's only Aerodactyl and Rapidash, because there are two other Pokemon that are in a similar speed class as Aerodactyl and Rapidash, and those are Persian and Arcanine. And you can actually get Persian and Arcanine when you get to Vermilion City. There's a mechanic or a feature of the game where if you catch 5 Meowth, you can get an Arcanine in Eevee, and if you get 5 Growlithe, you can get a Persian in Pikachu. And if those two could do the mount skips, then this run would look very different, because you would have a mount through like all of Rock Tunnel, all of Route 10, and you'd skip probably all of those trainers, and it would look very different. So,
yeah. And because because it is Rapidash or Aerodactyl exclusive, we get them so late in the run that even though we could skip any trainer in like the outside world or like in a cave with this, there's only 4 trainers we can actually do this on. So it only saves like 4 minutes. But we had to, this was like a ton of work. I had to do so much testing and like manually just testing positions over and over again, just trying to find a working spot. As soon as you find one working spot, you effectively found all the working spots. Because again, if it's every 26 pixels, then if you find one spot that works and you go 26 down, that also works. It was a lot of work, and I'm just glad we have working setups now and this mystery is behind us. This ate up like 2 weeks of my life. My special attack's so bad. I have 118 at 48.
oh my.
This will cause problems later. So I got kind of a weird fight. Hopefully I get self-destruct here, because then this is still a really good fight. This is the worst fight in the game, by the way, because there's this much downtime and lag between turns for no reason. Nice. Sucker Punch on Cubone and self-destruct. Please Bone Meringue, you should. I think you're guaranteed to Bone Meringue here. I don't remember.
Yeah. It should only headbutt against the Golbat.
Yeah, and I think Cubone has Kill AI, right?
That I don't know.
I don't think I've ever tested it, but I think everything I've seen has confirmed that it will go for the Electrode there, because it'll already be weakened. But yeah, I got the 4-turn fight, but it's like the optimal 4-turn fight where there's not Eradicate around, so it's just a lot faster. You can win this in 3 turns though if you get really, really lucky. Sometimes you get the VGC opening where they do self-destruct protect, and it's super annoying. But fortunately I didn't see that here. That's when stuff can go to like 5 turns or worse, and that's just bad.
Yeah, self-destruct protect is like way safer than getting Thunderbolt turn 1, but you almost, if you're going for speed, you almost prefer Thunderbolt turn 1 just because it's going to end up being a faster fight.
Yep.
Most of the time. Obviously, you can get like crit paralyzed or something.
Yeah.
All right.
So we had a question in chat about favorite Pokemon, and I'm pretty sure I know Etiquette's, and I'm going to guess Etchy's, but Etiquette, I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, your favorite Pokemon is Frostlass, right?
Yes.
Great. All right, Etchy, I'm sure you've told me, but I don't remember. So I'm going to guess that it is Cyndaquil.
Wrong.
No,
I hate Cyndaquil.
Oh no.
No, I don't hate Cyndaquil. I'm just a Gen 2 hater. No. I change my favorite Pokemon pretty frequently. I don't like to show too much loyalty. I like to mix things up.
Sure.
My favorite general Pokemon's Arcanine, always.
Same.
Omanite's been growing on me a lot lately. It's just a little funny mollusk guy. I really like him.
You made such a big deal about me liking the Sandcastle, and then you're going to say you like Omanite? Like,
But it's so funny. He's just a funny mollusk. He's so good.
and
He's a little mollusk
Sandcastle
guy.
isn't funny.
It's like a Smurf in a rock. Why can you not like that? I also really like Minun and Fortress. Minun, Fortress, and Arcanine are usually the three I swap between for favorite Mon.
I think I remember you saying Minun last time now.
Yeah.
I think that's the one I remember. Yeah. I get
Yeah,
it.
it just
though.
depends on my mood when you ask me. It's one of those three.
Sure.
usually.
Yeah, I like Sandy Gas most days, but some days it's Auroras, so I get that. Why are you hating on me so much for my Pokemon choices?
Auroras,
Yeah, literally,
Auroras,
Nobody else likes these Pokemon. It's like
Auroras
straight
sees
up.
somebody across the room clench their fist and just falls over. Like, that's an interesting
Oh my
Pokemon.
goodness.
Wait, what slot is Rock Slide? Is it 2? One? No, it's not 1.
It's 4.
Force Crunch.
Oh, then it's 2. Yeah.
Okay. This is a newer thing where you can use Aerodactyl for these fights. We didn't think about it before. It is technically risky because it's not guaranteed to kill the Executor, but it ends up working out a lot nicer if you do this, and it works out.
You said it was in 4.
It is in 4.
No, Crunch is in 3.
Sorry. No, yeah, sorry. Rock Slide's in 4. I said that as I saw it. Rock Slide's cool here because you can flinch the Wheezing. You can do the same with Rapidash. So your 3 options for a section are Rapidash, nice flinch. Rapidash, Dodrio, or Aerodactyl. Again, the regular route does not have this option of Aerodactyl. Optimally, Rapidash is like the best for like the non-mount skip route, but you do have to hit a Fire Blast, which is 85%. Dodrio is the safest because you can just use a Drill Peck and one-shot the Executor always. For Aerodactyl, it works out really nicely for this specific route because we have it and we want it in our party anyway. And then also Crunch is fairly reliable to one-shot the Executor. Not guaranteed, though. Yeah. And the nice thing, too, is, like, if you miss Fire Blast with Rapidash, you're losing, like, several turns or, like, have to hit a Hydro Pump because the Executor always sets up Light Screen. But with Aerodactyl, if it sets up Light Screen, it doesn't matter because you can just Rock Slide Charizard. So you just lose the turn and that's it. Mentioned by Joey Seaball. At Etchy and at Etiquette are so mean.
Like, retweet.
Yeah, I'm retweeting that. Hold on.
All right. So
my
Okay,
turn
what's your
for
favorite
Archer.
Gen 1 Pokemon then?
Gengar.
Let's do a palette cleanser.
Yeah,
Gengar.
Gengar.
Okay.
I got
That's
a
good.
giant
That's
Gengar's
Gengar
solid.
plush behind me. Gengar's
That's
great.
good. I respect it.
All right. So we got Scarlet and Violet coming soon. Have you two picked your starters yet?
Quaxley.
Oh, Fuecoco.
All right. Well, Quaxley's definitely
Let's
the correct
see.
one, but
Thank you.
But-
you know what? Maybe your taste in Pokemon isn't that bad. Maybe it's good.
Thank you.
Maybe it's good.
Fuecoco's not.
Oh,
Maybe
man.
Auroras is pretty good after all. You convinced
Yeah, there
me.
we go. Yeah.
So here we get a Master Ball. We actually are required to talk to this guy. In the older games, you can just run from this place. If you try to leave, he stops you and makes you talk to him. Unfortunately, the Master Ball doesn't help us anymore because we are effectively done catching at this point always. So doesn't matter.
Except my SGDQ run where I had to Master Ball a Psyduck. That was the thing. All right, so my Archer was an okay fight. The one thing that can kind of happen where you get self-destruct and no protect turn 1 is you sometimes have to heal because the Raticate starts sucker punching you. I got really lucky and the Raticate hasn't sucker punched me yet, and it's the only thing left alive. So I am basically guaranteed to finish it off here.
Here we get a free Lapras, super fast. I also get the rare candy I need for Lance later. I'm also going to get a free gift Porygon. It's basically the same idea as this, where I just talk to someone and he gives it to me. And that'll be my 50th Pokemon, and then I'll be done for catching and getting more Pokemon, and it'll be great. And then we can just kind of do regular Pokemon speedrun, just win fights as fast as possible, and cry when we get crit.
Yep. And I was just going to say, now that I have my Omanyte, I am officially at 48 Pokemon, and I'm getting the same 2 gift Pokemon that Etchy is. So we are officially, you can forget about our catch count now. We are officially on the same route. So time ahead is actually true.
Whoa. The speedrun's like a normal speedrun now. Wild.
Wild.
This is the best part of this game is when people come in and they're like, whoa, you have a summon best of like 237? You can totally just like beat your world record by 20 minutes. And it's like, no.
That's not how it works.
That's not how it works. Sorry. If you're ahead, you gotta give that time back at some point. It's a equivalent exchange moment. So this is gonna be the final shot for me. Go ahead.
I was going to say, it's also really funny because sometimes you'll get a gold split and everyone will be like, oh my God, that's awesome. But then you actually golded something like Rock Tunnel, which means it's actually really bad that you got a gold split because that means you didn't catch anything. Those are always interesting.
Okay, I'm just going to get a couple X special attacks here. Yeah, 108 sounds good. And I'll be
the shopping in any percent is so much better.
Yeah, if you can get full heals here if you want to, and then you don't get 100 and whatever X specs, but you still get like 30 of them. You need a good amount of them for the rest of this run. So I just get that 108 because it's the least amount of inputs. I'm just pressing down there. But here's Sabrina's gym. She requires a level 45 Pokemon to enter. I have level 48, no problem. And then this puzzle is pretty straightforward. It's always, again, same solutions. Minor optimization here is that if you enter these pads perfectly, you don't have any extra animation. You lose like half a second every time you mess up, so it does add up. Hopefully I don't screw up any of them. We'll see.
I did the rock slide strat on Jesse and James, and the wheezing is the one that avoided.
Oh yeah, that's the animation I'm talking about. That's what you typically try to avoid. Not the end of the world, but as long as you aren't doing it on every single pad, you're fine. And then Sabrina's a interesting fight where there's some variation. Just depends on if she wants to be nice or not. I'll play it safe.
Oh, you're lucky. You're 48. So your damage, you don't have to worry about the bad damage?
Yeah, you don't have to worry about the range. Yeah, that's why another reason why I really like the 4+0. So, Mr. Mime here has Light Screen, also has a Reflect, but Light Screen's the only one we care about. Light Screen just halves special attacking damage. Crits go through it, though. So, it'll pretty much always lead with Light Screen or do it in the first 2 turns. If it doesn't, we can actually just save a ton of time and just win immediately. But when it sets it up, we have to wait, because we don't want the other mons to come out while Light Screen is up, because we can't kill them. And we're going to stall out those Light Screen turns by using other X items. Okay, so we got Reflect. If I don't get it this turn, I can just attack. Dang, I got it. So I have to stall an extra turn as a result. I only bought 1 XP. Dang it. I had a feeling I messed up.
So we had a poll in chat about what everyone was going to pick for their Scarlet Violet starters, and 19 people were just completely wrong.
Wait, what'd they pick?
The cat. 19 people picked the cat.
Whoa.
They're just wrong. It's okay. 27 people are correct between the other 2.
Minor optimization for this category exclusively is that because we effectively have an extra move slot, we need to keep Recover or Light Screen. Keeping Light Screen, I think, always makes the most sense, because this specific scenario where I need to stall an extra turn, I can just use Light Screen instead of going to my bag to like heal, and it effectively does the same thing. You can also recover too, I guess, but I guess it's less animations overall.
Yeah.
Should be less animations overall, yeah.
I tend to do the move order I have, where I still have recover, and that's purely muscle memory.
Yeah. It depends on like where you usually teach Thunderbolt to. If you normally teach it in slot 2, then yeah.
I think I'm the only person who still does it in slot 2.
Well, it's you see every Pika runner do it because we always teach Pikachu Thunderbolt in slot 4, so it makes sense to just keep it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Even if it is more optimal for like slot 2 on Starmie. So I need to buy more X speeds because I messed up my shopping. And I was wondering why I could afford 108 X specs, so that was not right. Normally it's 99. So I will... Actually, I should just run there now and do it. I have enough money. Okay, so big menu here. Going to do that. Going to use an elixir. Restore all of our PP. I'm going to heal up. Going to deposit all of our friends here. I do have to keep Lapras because I did not catch a Rapidash. Remove Lapras to slot 2 already. And it's very important that we have Lapras or Rapidash for one of the later rival fights. I'm going to not candy. I need a Battle Pocket. Do that. Let me go down to Fuchsia, and now we can finally check if we actually counted to 50 correctly. Otherwise, you get kicked out of the gym. A little quirk there is that if your Rapidash or if your Aerodactyl is already out, you actually get a different fly animation that's a little bit faster. I don't know if it's always worth it to like do the extra movement to get Aerodactyl out, because sometimes it's kind of laggy or weird. But if you can do it, it makes sense to do it. Because the normal fly animation has you like sitting on a chair with balloons and stuff, but if you're riding a flying Pokemon, you just kind of float. Koga's also like one of the scariest gyms. Is it the scariest gym? I guess.
Yeah.
At least in terms of time loss, it is the most frustrating one. Everything in this gym has Protect. Kading, the first gym trainer here, can just end your entire run. I counted to 50 correctly. Let's go.
Yeah, it's everybody in that gym has Toxic and Protect, and they like to use it just as you would imagine.
Yep. This first trainer, can't skip him, has a Muck that has Moonblast, which is a fairy move that lowers special attack sometimes, which is really bad. Also has Protect and Minimize, which is really bad because it raises evasion. So ideally, you just never see Minimize, and you just don't see Toxic, and you don't see Moonblast. You just see Protect, and then you just win. That's what I want to see happen right now. But I have had runs die to this guy. He's very mean. I saw Minimize. I sure hope I hit. I missed. No Protect still. There it is.
Time for my comeback.
I have burned 3 Psychics so far. Okay. That's really bad that I've used this many Psychics, but it's not as bad as normal no mount skip runs because we don't need as many Psychics. We can save 1 Psychic. And I can Scald the Speedrun since I didn't get special attack dropped. This is going very badly for me already.
Oh no.
This has not been a good Koga.
All right, so time for my Sabrina. So something that if Etchy did the same candy route as me, he also would have had an issue with. But because he was level 48 here, got a little bit of a boost in his damage. So I am gonna have a hard time two-shotting this Mr. Mime through Light Screen. It's mostly just gonna waste a turn, but depending on how aggressive Mime is, it also could be a little dangerous. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, you can get the burn 30%, and that fixes it usually. But then you have potential status lag, which sucks. So hopefully that just doesn't happen.
All right. I'm going to go for this range. No. All right. So interesting position to be in. Because I don't have any revives anymore. We'll be fine.
What happened?
I died.
Oh,
But we will be fine.
did you get crit or just miss the range?
I got crit once, and then I missed the range as it burned, so it was kind of insulting.
Yeah, like Mr. Mime usually it doesn't hit that hard, but like one bad crit can just ruin everything.
Yeah.
Especially if we just don't end up killing it in time.
I
Or if
wasn't
you just,
too
like,
worried
super
about it.
aggro and just spam psychic the whole time.
I wasn't too worried about it. I just forgot I didn't have revives anymore still. Because like the game gives you 3 revives, so you almost always have revives at all points. But ended up using a lot of them in Hideout. This will be fine. I need to figure out how to handle my candying.
It's different?
Because I didn't hit 48, I need 2 candies to get to 49
Oh, because you died.
because I died.
No, so but you still finished the fight.
I finished the fight, yeah.
Oh, okay,
so
okay,
Sabrina's dead.
Okay.
Well, Sabrina's alive. Her Pokemon are dead.
What percentage are you at? Like level?
I'm
know?
pretty close. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I should probably just do Caden at this level.
Yeah. So if Caden takes you there, you're totally fine.
And I'm actually, because of this, I'm going to hold off on doing the elixir, just because I'm going to need to use way more psychics. Just because I am such a lower level. So, I should have grabbed the max revive in Hideout.
I still got the walk animation. I wasn't high enough. What? If you're just a couple pixels higher here, you save like 3 seconds. He doesn't walk down to you. But here, Professor Oak just tells you like Mega Evolutions exists. Here's some Mega Stones for Pokemon you don't have. So we're not going to be able to Mega Evolve at all during this run. Okay, here's the new strat. We get Aerodactylite and do Mega Aerodactyl for E4.
Genius. Whew, I counted to 50 correctly.
Nice. You know, I didn't actually think about Mega Aerodactyl. I wonder if it is like decent in in-game. I mean, it's not going to be good because Mega Evolution's really slow, but I wonder if it can like beat Lance. So yeah, we are finally using repels now, which have existed this whole time. We just don't really use them because we need to catch things, but we no longer want to catch anything for the rest of the run, so we're going to be keeping that repel the entire time. And now we're on the final gym. The first fight's totally normal. The second fight is normally the one that kills 50% of runs. It shouldn't be 50%, but it basically kills like 50% of runs in the other category because you have to hit a Hydro Pump usually or you die. But in this category, we don't have Hydro Pump, so we can't even do that. So we're just going to 2-controller it and it'll be fine.
All right, I did not hit 48, but I'm not concerned. I'm just going to hold off on candying, and then I'll just candy before Lance. I'll candy twice before Lance.
Hold off completely?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because like the more I'm thinking about it, I'm 2-controllering Samuel, so that doesn't matter. Nothing on Giovanni is bad. Nothing on Rival is bad, as long as I Psychic the Raichu instead of Scald.
Okay.
So I should be fine. And there are no more fights until the Elite Four.
Oh, come on. One nice thing with this fight is that, or one nice thing with Lapras as your doubles partner here is it actually works out way better because Lapras has Ice Shard, so it's just gonna die, and I don't have to worry about like potentially not killing here. Oh, do I have to Psychic though? I think I have to Psychic. I only have 2. This should be fine. Because I only need 1. Yeah, I only need 1 Psychic. Yeah. I can Ice Shard with Lapras too anyway, yeah. It's fine. Yeah, Ice Shard's a prioritized move, so super effective, and also doesn't matter that Lapras is super slow. But normally you just use Rapidash on that fight. I guess Aerodactyl's fine too, you could crunch it.
All sorts of protects in this gym.
Yeah. I actually wasn't paying attention to how many I got. It was probably like 2 or 3 Koga.
So the Beedrill didn't protect. The Muck, Caden's Muck minimized protect, and then I hit. And then on Koga, only Muck didn't protect.
Okay. All right, so Giovanni is, again, a very straightforward fight, but if you get crit, you will die.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave with the next venue. Are you going to do the other strat?
I'm going to do the other strat, yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think you can show that off. That's something you came up with recently. But this is the old normal way we do it. I use an X-Defend, then I use an X special attack, and then I just sweep. And X-Defend is scary though, because sometimes they crit, and crits go through X item defense stuff, so hopefully it's just nice. Oh, I forgot I took a Moonblast. I have to heal. Oh, never mind. Got Sucker Punch. Cool.
Nice Sucker Punch. I looked over to see what your HP was.
What is he doing? Cool.
Yeah, you want to come out of that fight over about like 30 health. It's a little bit less, but
yeah,
right around 30.
Yeah, I'll be fine with this HP because I'm at the level here. So.
All right,
we're good. We're good. Yeah, the Pidgeot has quick attack on the next fight, so if you don't have to heal going into it, it's great because you can just. Actually, I don't have to heal because this is the good category, so you just don't heal at all now. I have 140 speed. Oh my god! I guess all my special attack went to my speed. We were getting very, very close to the very exciting mount skips that I am stoked to finally show off on the big stage. I ran Let's Go recently on GDQ for how to train a speedrunner, but because it was a tutorial thing, I did not want to show these because I do not want anyone new trying these because it is not a good idea. And it also requires a random $20 controller from Amazon, so.
It does.
Yeah, the controller thing is basically the entire reason it's like needs to be a separate category. Otherwise, everyone would just be fine to, run the fastest way possible. And hopefully, what will happen is they all work when I do the tricks, and neither of us get owned and show what happens when you mess up. So.
Yeah. Yeah, none of the fights on their own, like all the fights kind of have one or two things that can go kind of bad. But none of them are terribly dangerous. It's just pure time save just by skipping the fights.
Yeah, a lot of the two of the fights are like 90% of the time fine. No. Yeah, two of the fights are like 90% of the time fine. The other two are like, one is very favorite to just randomly kill your run, and the other one is like, sometimes you just lose a lot of time for no reason on it. So yeah, especially skipping that first trainer, it just makes the run so much more consistent. And again, no Hydro Pump, don't even have to worry about that. Super awesome. Pokemon order is going to be fixed here. If you add Rapidash out, then it actually is random a bit. But I'll always get Vileplume here because I have Lapras. And you always have to X-Speed second here.
Yep.
Because Jolteon's always going to come out next.
Yeah, in Generation 8, they made it so speed changes immediately rather than at the end of the turn. But in this game, because it's still Generation 7, speed changes don't take effect until next turn. So if you X speed, it doesn't actually do anything this turn.
This might not kill. Okay. I wasn't sure, so add the Scald Jolteon, so I was a little scared. Scald's a little bit weaker than Psychic, so. And Jolteon, that's another kind of version difference, is our rival has Jolteon, while in Eevee version our rival has Raichu. Raichu is less bulky than Jolteon, and Jolteon's bulk is actually really annoying for the final rival fight, the champion fight, because we need more setup typically. This is like one of the reasons that Eevee has like a slightly nicer endgame, even though parts of it are quite a bit worse.
Because I had the weird menu at the end of Saffron, I keep forgetting to swap my X items.
Oh no.
So I keep having to go left, up, right to get to my specials.
No. Yeah, like Etika was saying, we do very specific shopping and item management just to make sure our inputs are okay and minimal for these shops. But I am getting close to doing the mount skips. I did not practice it a lot before this, but I have done these for hours and hours because of putting so much time into learning these and figuring them out in the first place. So hopefully it's fine. The way it's going to work is I'm going to turn off both of my controllers, both my Joy-Cons. I'll turn off my main Joy-Con when I am in the middle of a cutscene as the gate is lowering. And then during that time, I have to wait a couple seconds and then turn on this fancy Joy-Con. Because again, I need perfect cardinal directions. Otherwise, this will not work. Nope. A little early. And what's going to happen is I'm just going to walk past some trainers, and it's going to look weird, and it's going to look a little funky, and it's going to look like I'm not doing anything particularly like special. I'm just kind of walking past them. But again, culmination of weeks of work, and hopefully it just works out, and I can show them off as intended. I'll save here just in case I mess up. I want to show them all off. But etiquette will do them too, so.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just run into this wall for a bit, stop, run up. I forgot to let the repeller run out. I'm going to do it again. That always gets me. So I'm going to unmount and then remount. That's just to reset like the animation. And then we'll just run past that trainer, which is the most dangerous trainer in late game. So they're just done. We don't have to deal with them anymore. That trainer is really scary because they have a Kangaskhan that has Crunch, and it's really hard to kill. So the fast way to deal with it is just to hit a Hydro Pump typically and just kill it and hope for the best. And if you miss the Hydro Pump, usually you're dead. I'm going to run into this wall over here and unmount and kind of reposition. Kind of in this like crevice. Going to buffer that input. Go over here. Hold up. And that trainer is now skipped.
Yeah, that second trainer is probably the most finicky of the bunch. Just because there's spots on the wall that aren't the same vertical position.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure you're in like a really... It's not like too tight of a window, but you can't just like run into the wall and be good. You have to like actually plan where you're standing.
Yeah, even though like if you just run into if you look at that wall above me right now, you can see it's like not just a straight wall. It's like there's curves and angles to it. So it does actually matter. And the way these setups work for like this one and the next one I'm going to do is like you run directly into the wall into one of the crevices, and then you run left to right to glide off of like the sharp angles. And by gliding off that, you end up in the position you want to be in, the subpixels you want to be in. So this next skip is not actually a mount skip. It's just a skip we've been doing for a while. It's the one I'm most likely to mess up because I'm using a weird controller. But you can just run it past this trainer by being very careful. Ooh, I almost messed it up.
Yeah, that takes the 25 pixel vision width and just exploits it in a different way.
Yeah, that's another trainer skip right there. And then here's, what, 40 seconds of pushing a rock?
Yeah, it's so long.
Yeah, for some reason in this game, it's like the only one where you can't just like hold a direction to push a boulder. You have to press A every time, so it's tough. And this last trainer skip is the most finicky one and was the hardest one for me to find a setup for. Like that last one I did was like the fastest one for me to find a setup for. I found it within like an hour of trying. And it's actually fun. The video I recorded of me finding the consistent setup, I accidentally skippered like twice more after it because I just was like going up and down and excited, and I just accidentally did it again and again. It just kind of like works really nicely with those walls around that trainer. But this one's a lot harder because if you look at around this trainer, there's not really good obstacles and like walls around them to do this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to run to the left here to try to force my trainer to always go left when I do a straight up or down. Gonna go up, so I went left there. Gonna hold down, up again, up again. And now my positioning's pretty good for this, so I'm going to just hold down here. I should go left again. And then I remount and hold right. And there we go. That's all the mount skips. So we skipped the last 4 trainers of the game. Makes the route way more consistent and alleviates a lot of the late game run enders, which is really nice.
So quick note before Etchy gets into Elite Four. So I used Aerodactyl as my second Pokemon on Giovanni, just because Aerodactyl is immune to Earthquake. But I had to make sure that I swapped back to Rapidash for this fight. Because if I didn't swap back to Rapidash, then Raichu would have a chance of coming out second. Raichu is the best Pokemon, quote unquote, that Rival has against Aerodactyl. So 50-50 chance of Raichu coming out second, and I wouldn't outspeed. So we just want to avoid that. Throw Rapidash in slot 2.
Yeah, we always need the +2 special attack and +2 speed to have a chance against Raichu/Jolteon. So we always need it to come out at least third. Sometimes it'll come out fourth, but
at least
now
third.
I'm on Lorelei. This fight's fine. Actually, I'm not positive right now. So Etiquette kind of talked about it earlier, but I'm just going to use 3x specs because I don't have Hydro Pump, and I'm just going to win the fight. The other kind of change as a result of skipping all those trainers is that in the normal route, in the no mount skip route, what will happen on Agatha is that you start getting these things called turnarounds, which happen when you have really high friendship. You have a chance to sometimes heal off statuses or like survive fatal hits. And it's actually really nice in that fight if you heal paralysis at a key time, or at all, through the power of love, because it just saves a bunch of time. However, it comes with the downside that every time you do a super effective hit, your Starmie looks around at you, says something, and then you lose a bunch of time. So I will not be getting those for Agatha, which means I can't have the optimal fight, but I will not get any of the turnarounds, so it ends up still being really good. I will instead get my turnarounds starting on Lance.
Yeah, and there are ways to either make those turnarounds worse or better depending on the amount of X items that you've used and stuff. It's a lot easier to save enough X items to skip turnarounds on Agatha, even in the NMS route. In Eevee, not really possible in Pikachu, but it's usually not even worth doing in Eevee just because it's so finicky. All right. So now it is time for me to switch controllers.
Good luck with your mount skips.
Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna let my repel wear off. There we go.
When I was figuring out the setups, it was very important to me that they are perfectly consistent. There's no like RNG to it. So that's why they all basically like revolve around using the environment to set up your position correctly, so that your positioning is always perfectly consistent as long as you do the inputs correctly. My HP is high enough here. I probably should have saved, but I do have Lapras and Aerodactyl in my party, so it's okay. Bruno, basically the same idea, except I only need 1 X spec, and then I just win the fight. I can maybe die to faint if the AI just randomly decides to use it on the final Pokemon.
Good. Second skip there is the one that I am the worst at, so getting that is really nice.
Got Stealth Rocks there, which is another benefit of keeping Pokemon in your party. In the NMS route, you're typically depositing your party before Agatha. Sometimes it makes sense to keep them, but here there's no point in menuing early, so getting Stealth Rocks at Earthquake is very nice. Maybe Poliwrath is my favorite general Pokemon. I don't know. That was pretty good. That was a good looking Poliwrath.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Very menacing. Yeah, that's a good point. Pointed out in chat is that in the other Gen 1 games, Fire Leaf Green, Red, Blue, Yellow, there are no required trainers on Victory Road. They're just not required. But in this game, they just throw in a ton of them. But I guess they aren't actually required because we can just skip them all. So I guess we figured it out. I'm going to heal up here. I'm also going to save. Because now we're getting to the point where if I die, I can't just revive and go back in. Bad things will happen, so.
Yeah, also small little thing. I'm assuming you did it on purpose. It's a little bit better to menu outside of Agatha's room instead of inside because the fog inside adds a little bit of lag to the menu.
The exception to this is that I always menu before entering the next room now in Agatha's room because I will die less to Lance when I do that. Purely superstition. So yeah, I'm not going to be able to shake away this paralysis. I just have to heal it. That's why I picked up the Full Restore earlier because you're always going to get crunched and glared. So I will just heal them both in one go and then I can start attacking.
All right. All 4 skips done for me.
Whoa. That sucks. It's not even a roll. I got Poison Jab.
Oh, God. That's so scary.
It's so weird. So what I have to do now is I have to heal on Golbat because it has Quick Attack, which will kill me here. I didn't get any defense drops, though, so if it decides to not use Quick Attack, because sometimes it just doesn't do it, I should still be okay. If I got defense dropped and poison jab, I would have died. So.
How are you going to hurt Gengar like that?
And that was poison jab crit too, by the way.
How are you going to hurt Gengar like that? You didn't even give him a chance.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay, so now we're good. See, there I just didn't use Quick Attack, even though Quick Attack would have killed me. I don't know why.
AI is weird.
Yeah. Actually, no. Quick Attack would probably didn't kill me. I think my defense was high enough. That's probably why I didn't do it. But sometimes, even if you are like 1 HP, just doesn't go for Quick Attack. It's really weird. But I think I was actually safe there. I didn't have to heal. So yeah, we have 52 in time. So I'm going to candy to 53. 53 is a damage boosting level. Any level that ends in 0, 3, 5, or 8 is. And it's really important that I get damage boost for Lance coming up soon here. I'm going to heal up. Use that candy. What is my special attack? Please be good.
I don't know why.
134 is okay.
Oh, that is okay.
It's a number. So 134 is 13 out of 16 to one-shot Dragonite here. And that's okay. That's 81%-ish. If I miss the range, I'm usually dead unless I'm full HP. If I'm full HP and I miss the range, it's totally fine. Usually are good to go. And you can just hit again. Whether or not your full HP is entirely dependent on this Seadra. This is the worst fight because we have to do the most setup here. I have to like fully set up to +6 +6 special attack and +2 speed. So we're gonna be here for a while. And Seadra theoretically doesn't hit hard because it's a water type Pokemon and all that, but it does have Hyper Beam, and if that crits, you are gonna take a lot of damage. You want to see as many hyper beams as possible though, because it gives you that recharge turn, so just a free turn to set up more. Another one. I want to see hyper beam here, but don't crit me. Nice. So because I'm done setting up, I can actually just heal here, and this cuts out a heal menu from the next before I do a champion fight. And more importantly, if I miss the range now, I did not ether psychic, so I have to do it. Never mind.
Oh,
take it all back. Okay, well, this is still good HP. There we go. I forgot that part of the menu before Lance. You know, at that point, I should have just committed. No, because I can't two-shot Dragonite, though. Right? No, T-Bolt. Probably two shots at +6, right? Maybe. Because, yeah, I could have killed everything here without Psychic. I don't know. I should check that at some point.
At +6, you definitely can KO everything without Psychic.
Yeah, just, I don't know if you two-shot Dragonite with T-Bolt.
Probably.
Oh, I missed the range and I died. Very cool.
Oh, yeah, wait, yeah, you definitely would. Oh, wait, you died.
Oh, no. I did a system update.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I was mashing A. No video. Hold on.
The comeback.
The comeback. Let's go. Please.
Good news, you finally
God.
gave me a reason to use my Sandygast emote in chat. So thank you for that.
Wait, let me see this. Oh, amazing. That's good. I have been putting off that update all day, and I was like, surely it won't matter when I do the run. And it mattered. It mattered. All right, we're going to try this again. Lance is my kryptonite, for those who have watched my Let's Go runs a lot know this, but Lance has killed many of my world record pace runs. It's actually absurd compared to like every other runner, just how many times this has happened. The good news is, because I reset, I can ether. No. Okay. I tried to ether light screen, but yeah, the full
Oh my God.
fine. Everything's fine. Oh, that would have been like a 302 or something if I finished that. That's wild.
Yeah.
If I didn't die there. All right. Surely, second try is the charm. I'm gonna special defend here.
That did too much for me to trust. I'm just going to do this in a slow way.
Okay, Hyper Beam here, don't crit. Or just dodge, okay. Alright, so I'm going for the range again. If I miss the range, I will die again. Because I'm not full HP. There, again, 81%. Surely I don't miss it twice in a row. It's basically just a Hydro
Surely
Pump,
not.
and nobody ever misses those, so...
So it is definitely slower to do Agatha this way. I was a little bit sketched out by how much damage I got turn 1 or turn 2, and I didn't see if I got defense dropped. And if I did, I absolutely needed to do this. But the one thing it does let me do is I can elixir on the last turn of battle, and that way I don't have to use the item mid battle. And I don't hit 51 before Lance, so I am candying to 52.
Oh no. I guess you can either 2-controller Dragonite or just stall until you have full HP.
I'm gonna 2-controller it, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. That is the smarter thing, I think. It's a more reliable thing. Fortunately, the only thing it matters for is the Dragonite, so
Yeah.
gonna heal up here and then save. Once again, we both have really bad special attack. Sometimes it's fine to be level 52 here. Like, you can actually just kill the Dragonite if you have good stats. But we do not. We both have bad special attack. I guess my speed's good, so not all my stats are bad. But here's a champion fight. Kind of similar idea, except we just need way less setup. And I'll actually finish my setup on the Vileplume. It's like the same amount of setup, but I can kind of segment it, fortunately. Because unlike Eevee version, like I said, Jolteon's bulkier. I need to be at +6 special attack in order to one-shot it. And here is a Pidgeot, not a Mega Pidgeot, just a Pidgeot. Very unassuming, no biggie. Surely can't be that scary.
Yeah.
The next special defend.
Ray is right in chat. Basically, there are damage rolls. So every time the game calculates damage, there are 16 different damage rolls it could be. So whenever we say something is a range, we're referring to that.
Oh, good dodge. Good. Oh, yeah. So here's Mega Pidgeot, by the way. It's terrifying. I should live that, yeah.
Good.
Do this. So it should quick attack me here because I'm in death range. Quick attack's priority. So I take this turn to heal. Much safer to do it this way. And then I T-Bolt. With good special attack, you can just Psychic. And now Vileplume's coming out. It's almost always going to use Solar Beam unless you're like in death range. So I'm going to X Special to get my last buff that I needed. Take advantage of that free turn, and then I will spam Psychic until Slowbro comes out.
Ooh, actually, I'm gonna have... I should have not candied until after Lance doing this. It's fine.
I guess, yeah, because you're never gonna get the one shot. Yeah,
I'm gonna have to go to +6 on Champ.
Yeah, you're just gonna do the same thing I do then, pretty much.
Yep.
So one thing you do in Pikachu version on no mount skips is if you had Hydro Pump, you can actually just skip the third X-Spec and just Hydro Pump Jolteon. Very risky though. Again, we don't have it at all, so we can't even take potential risks like that. And then here's the final Pokemon. You're just gonna use Thunderbolt. Get that turnaround, and then that is gonna be it for Champion. We are now Kanto Champion. We are now 1 the champion. My name's 1, but our other champion is also named 1, so I guess 1 is still a champion. Time will be when I fade out on Hall of Fame. Let me see where you're at right now. Okay, you're
I'm saving right before Champion. If I could go to +4 on Champion, I would do a 2-controller fight that basically guarantees you don't have to worry about getting crit, but
yeah.
Unfortunately, I am not quite there.
Yeah, there's been a lot of...
This has been a run.
Yeah. there's some funny stuff you can do on Champ if you want to just guarantee a W.
Yeah.
If you have a Meowth or anything with like Fake Out, you can actually get a pretty good 2-controller fight where you use the Meowth to Fake Out and flinch the Pidgeot. It's really funny. Otherwise, you can do Rapidash, which is also still like very reliable, and time.
GG.
Thank you.
All right.
Let's go see this Champ. I'm ready. Somehow your 2-controller Lance fight was cleaner than mine. Smoother than mine.
Yep.
This Pidgeot, by the way, is a nightmare. Actually, like really competitively made Pidgeot. Even as Heat Wave, it is just a special attacker Mega Pidgeot. So even if like you had a different type that like, if you had like a Steel type or something, you had Magnemite, it would just hit you with Heat Wave and you would die. Very, very scary. And they got smarter in this game. Because like in, say, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, they always like finish off with their Megas. Champion leads with the Mega because he's a professional gamer. They're trying to like mess up your setup as much as possible.
All right. So one more X special here, and this is for the Raichu. We got Solar Beam.
Perfect.
We are good.
Very cool. So yeah, Pika rules, Eevee drools.
Wow.
No, so I, as someone who's run both games a lot, I initially ran a lot of Eevee, and then I slowly went over to the dark side of Pika. I find the route just more consistent. And even it's really weird that I find it more consistent, even though there's so much more like variety in the mid game because you keep switching mains and like doing weird stuff. But it just ends up kind of working out nicely for Pikachu here. Eevee would be a lot nicer if the stats at the start weren't annoying, like the starter resets.
Yeah.
And status lag didn't exist. Just those two things alone make it pretty tough.
Yeah. The way I like to say it is I always say that I think it's probably easier to get like a sub 310 in Eevee, but it's easier to get like a 305 in Pika. I am going to not be overestimate by 1 second.
Let's go.
Nice.
At least according to my timer.
Yeah, etiquette got
God.
fought super hard by mid game. Like, my
Those
goodness.
Jesse and James fights were the worst I've seen with these.
Literally
these strats.
multiple Jesse and James fights just trolling you.
Yeah.
They just were out for you today.
It's all good. But yeah, that is Let's Go Eevee. Currently, so unfortunately, the two world records right now for Eevee and Pikachu, the Pika records in both NE% and NMS are pretty. I think NE% you can bring down a couple minutes, but it's for NMS it's pretty representative of what the game is right now. I think the Eevee times in both categories can definitely be brought down. Like my so the Eevee NMS record. Oh wait, my time is coming up here. Sorry.
Nice.
The Eevee NMS record, it's like a 301, and the Eevee NE% record right now, I got earlier this week, would have been like a mid 303, mid to low 303. So like both the times can definitely be brought down. But it is official according to GDQ that Pikachu is faster. So GG.
Yeah, the tough thing with Eevee is, again, it's a lot of the top runners just find it inconsistent and kind of frustrating to grind as well. Like Kick and Run Keith, also very good. Let's Go Speedrunner has also agreed that Eevee is just too inconsistent to keep grinding. So even if they can be brought down, it's not an easy task for anyone. It's kind of a gauntlet. So the summary is you shall run Let's Go at all. I have tutorials for like Let's Go Eevee. I do not have a tutorial video for Pikachu, but 90% of it carries over, at least in terms of like mechanics and stuff. So if you're interested in that at all, definitely check it out. It's definitely the best Pokemon speedrun to get started with. It's the one I started with, so highly recommend it.
It's an amazing run in Pokemon to get started with because it gives you a taste of a lot of things that you need for other Pokemon runs. Like I'm using X items, I'm setting up, like that kind of stuff. But it's way safer. Like you don't have to worry about dying to the second gym or the second rival fight.
Pikachu's too tired. It won't let me play with it.
Oh man. But yeah, it gives you the Pokemon speedrunning experience without the stupid RNG outside of like the last couple fights. Yeah. And honestly, like if you can look past the motion controls and them being a bit inconsistent, you know, if you just sit down and practice them, you can get them pretty consistent. And it's a really, really great run. Definitely recommend it.
Oh, it's because my Pikachu is dead. I forgot. Anyway, Yeah, I promise the motion controls are not as bad as they seem. Like literally, I practiced them for like 10 minutes, and I was like good enough to do runs when I started. It's okay. It's fine.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Average, for having us.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're gonna be doing a lot of Scarlet Violet stuff over the next couple weeks. We're actually going to be on again.
Yep.
Soon, right?
Yeah. So in 2 weeks, these two will be back here. We'll do something Scarlet Violet. We don't know yet, but the score
It'll
on
be,
what's faster is currently
catch Sandy Gas %.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
It's currently 1-1. You know, so
True.
We'll
Best
have
of
to
3.
settle it with Scarlet Violet. But real quick before we get out of here, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you, and then we'll hand the reins over to Grudge Match.
Cool. ETCHY Etchy. That's how you spell it. You can check me out on Twitch. I stream a lot. I also have YouTube. You can just look up Etchy on there. You'll find me. A lot of speedrun content there. If you want to see a lot of Pikachu action there, some Eevee action too, it's all there. A lot of other Pokemon speedrun stuff, and going to be doing a lot of Scarlet Violet stuff, as I said. So if you're interested in that, I'll definitely follow the Twitch. What about you, Etiquette? Where are you?
Yeah, so you can find me Etiquette everywhere, spelled above me, EDDAKET, and I do mostly late gen Pokemon speedruns, so anything from really like Gen 6 and up, and definitely excited for the new game. So if you are interested in what the new games might hold for speedrunning, it'll be on my Twitch and my YouTube. So
Yeah. Super exciting. The new Pokemon game release is always like the coolest time of the year to be a speedrunner.
it's a great time.
Things just happen very, very fast. Especially like BDSP was wild when that came out.
It really was.
I don't think it'll be as wild, but there's a lot of weird mechanics and new stuff in these games that I'm really looking forward to see how they work out in speedruns. So follow both of us. It'll be great.
Yeah.
Do it. All right. Well, that's it for What's Faster tonight. But we're not done here on Hotfix. We're going to go to a quick little break while we set up for the next show, which is Hotfix Grudge Match. So don't go anywhere.